Hello, everybody. We're here for episode 22 of the Keep It Rollin' podcast. I'm Kyle Perkins. I'm here with Joey Deal.
Hello.
And Giuseppe Lamanna.
Lamanna.
Awesome.
Llama is pretty good.
Llama's good. Awesome.
He's more of the goat than the llama.
He is the goat. He is the goat.
The Billy Goat.
The Billy Goat. Awesome. Yeah, so Giuseppe.
We've been wanting Giuseppe on the show since we started.
Yeah, I mean, Giuseppe is a big part of the ADCC competition crew that we've been having going around, so we'll definitely reference that a little bit later.
I know we've said the story before from the beginning when we talked about Costa Mesa, but like right off the bat, I think we should just, anyone who didn't hear it, this was kind of when we started connecting. I knew you a little bit, not much, but I knew of you, and I think we've interacted here, but me and Kyle went to Costa Mesa on our own.
So you know what this really reminds me of? This is Mighty Ducks 2. This is the introduction to the third Bash brother, right?
Yeah,
you and me were going to all the tournaments, and then we found out there was a third Bash brother.
It was the coolest thing.
Yep.
So and knowing that there was another person from the same area out in Costa Mesa, but me and Kyle went and did the tournament, and I don't remember. We just kind of saw each other, right? We didn't know we were going.
So what's crazy is that wasn't even a year ago.
Yeah, April, right?
Yeah, in April. But going back, we were on the same DTC card.
Okay.
I think it was you back in January.
Yeah,
They asked
Don't
me
Tap
the night
Championships.
before.
Yeah, we both did.
Just
Yeah, I think we all did together, yeah.
And then that's where we connected in April.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Because
you're right.
You were facing.
Yeah, you stole the fastest submission from me.
Oh man, I did not. I don't remember that at all. I did not.
Yeah,
think of that.
I caught someone super
Oh,
quick,
good call.
and then Giuseppe
So that's
locked-
actually probably where we first kind of connected. So that was in
Yeah.
January, and then in April.
In April, we did it again because we had.
That's right. Alex Seaver.
The
Yep.
open weight, yeah, and you had a super match, or
Yep.
you were in the lower bracket.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
The 170 and below, and you did 70 up.
I saw earlier you guys were in the bracket, so I had talked to you after, like, hey, we'll be out in Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, so we did plan it a little bit then.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But
So
that
then we
was kind
see-
of the first time I remember seeing you guys out there.
Yeah.
Man, I
It's really
totally
cool.
forgot about Don't Tap.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, so we're in Costa Mesa. We see Lamanna. We see him competing. I know you had one match.
Yep.
I think we watched him after both of us.
Yeah.
But it was, instantly too, we're like, oh, we're going to be doing this a lot.
Yeah.
Because, for me, it was like super exciting, just the travel part of it, to go compete outside of the state. And then if I have other people who are interested in doing it, it's fun from April to now. So like less than a year, it's grown so much.
So much.
It's went from 1 to 2 people each time to about
now
8
we have
this
9
last
people.
time.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure everyone hears that story about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So let's talk about it. First, what do we like to do? Let's talk about today.
How'd your training go today?
Today was tough, man. Definitely good bodies, and just what's crazy is that the people that come here, like Ortiz, Johnny, I've been training with these guys for years. So Vince, it's always good rounds. But yeah, I felt good. Just trying to get ready, push the pace, and really turn it up into competition mode. It's hard to stay in competition
You're always
mode.
in competition mode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
That's the
for
thing.
sure.
It is tough. That's kind of interesting. It's like since April, we have not taken any type of like a substantial break.
No.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
December.
Yeah, a
was the only
little
break
bit of
we
time,
had.
but
yeah.
That was
really.
But what is that?
A
3
month.
weeks. Yeah,
Yeah.
3 weeks. We kind of took off, but So you're staying in that competition mode. You have something coming up, right?
Yeah, so going to Croatia, second European trials in February. So that's coming up
real
and,
soon.
Awesome. And you're doing the 83?
88.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
88. So the trials weight classes are different.
Oh, yeah, they don't have 83.
Right. So you got to kind of pick where you go. That's why the last, the open, I stayed at 91 because I want to be as big as possible.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
cut weight and then
Yeah.
yeah.
But I'm really excited for that. It's just been accumulation of, since last year, I've been having this on my mind from going to get my European passport and making the decision that
That's
this
awesome.
is what I'm going to do. So
you get 4 trials a year, or 4 trials.
yeah, 4
per-
trials a year.
Really cool.
Per try, yeah.
Yeah.
So you get the 2 American trials. So you're doing West Coast too, then?
plan on not doing it.
Yeah,
Attaboy, I like that.
Worst case scenario.
I plan on coming out there and coaching you guys.
Yeah, that'd be badass.
Really
I
cool.
like
So
it.
So are you born here?
I was born in Sicily.
Okay.
Yeah, my family came here when I was about 3-4 years old.
Really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't remember much, but my dad was a farmer. We had a bunch of land, but the American dream, sold everything, came here, and they were coming back and forth before that with like my sister and my brother, but they ultimately chose to come back and
And to
stay in
Illinois,
America.
to Chicago area?
Yeah, that's where all my family was already at.
Gotcha.
So they came
That's
here
awesome.
and made it
For a
easy.
farmer to come to Illinois. Yeah, a little
Yeah,
cold to be
it's crazy.
farming.
Like I look back at some of the pictures of my dad and like him on the farm. I'm just like, why did we come?
Why'd we
But,
change?
you know, you don't know what was going on. You don't know what was going on with the work. You know, the economy out there. It's easy to romanticize about it, but you don't know what was going on in the situation. And ultimately, it was to come and give us all a better life. You know, because what are you going to do in a Bumbleton, town in Sicily in the mountains? There's nothing
Not
to
much
do.
going on.
Yeah. So
Do you go back? You have family still there?
I do have family still. The last time I've been back was in 2017. It's
Okay.
just, to go back right now, it's difficult with business and work and training. It's like, what am I going to go do? Hang
Right.
out in the mountains? I'm not going to be able to train. And
Yeah.
I really can't
Yeah.
step back right now.
It doesn't benefit your life as much as you'd
Right.
like.
Like
yeah.
I went when I was the last time I was out there. Funny was 2017, and I was still doing MMA, and it was terrible. Like I was just running around the whole time, shadow boxing.
There's
like,
nothing going on.
Not
so
able
there's
to
no
enjoy it.
gyms, nothing in that area?
Not the closest gym is about an hour and a half away. So
Interesting.
Yeah, just not feasible.
Well, man,
Yeah.
that's a kind of interesting. Think about maybe a long-term goal as you get older.
Absolutely.
Is to bring something out there in that area.
Yeah, for sure. When I can go out there and
You know,
kind of
establish something.
yeah.
Yeah.
If nothing else, we could do a
retreat.
Yeah, we do a
something.
retreat there.
We do a retreat.
Yeah, for
All right,
sure.
Sicily, I've never been.
It's
No.
beautiful out there, though, man.
Yeah, I've heard.
Absolutely beautiful, and that's the reason why it's like, fuck. If I go out there, I don't want to come back.
Right.
Yeah.
You
You're
might
pretty
not
good
come
stuck.
back to this.
One
shitty-
day
this
we'll retire
shithole.
to a simple life and just
I'm
smoke
telling you, man,
cigarettes and
and
drink espresso all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just get a mat. You invite the locals.
Yeah,
You can.
Jiu-Jitsu's pretty big out there. My old instructor, Comprito, would go out there every. He's got an affiliate
In
out
Italy
there.
in general, Or
Sicily,
in just in
yeah.
Sicily.
Really?
Wow.
He would tour around the coast and just
So there
stop
is
at
good
random
jujitsu.
gyms.
It's just where you're at. There, it's far.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Man, that's perfect though. As you
Yeah.
get older, I think
For sure.
we should set that up.
Nice place to retire. Yeah.
yeah.
Just start a little jiu-jitsu school.
Well, yeah. Even going out, the thing is that the flight is so long, and then
Yeah.
like if I go out there with family,
You don't want to go out there for a short trip.
Yeah.
No.
You want to go out there for a
Yeah,
while.
Absolutely.
So we got the trials coming up. Man, so all right, you did. How was the East Coast trials for us? We were all there.
Yep.
What was the East Coast trials? I'm trying to think.
Well, I wanna say-
what matches we had there.
I want to say you guys all made it to day
Because I'm
two.
getting excited for West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were all on the day two.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun,
was so
man.
sick,
Dude, we had a good
Yeah.
time.
It was really good. Well, I mean, then I think in the beginning, I think you were
Because I'm trying to think who would be in your weight for the. So
So this is what I would
the
say. I mean,
European
you could definitely be more upset about it than you like, but I think you were more upset in the moment until he won. You lost the
Couch.
eventual champion.
Yeah.
You know,
That's what I'm
so
trying to
yeah,
think.
you're
Couch
doing
won.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And man, the West Coast trials, the East Coast trials, those are very tough.
It's
Yeah.
tough.
Right.
You're getting a
How
barn
was the
burner.
first European trials?
The first European trials, definitely lighter. I had about 90 people in my bracket, but
Okay.
I pulled the better guy first round.
that's
who ended up
a
taking
lighter
third.
bracket.
Yeah, isn't that
90
crazy?
people,
Yeah, it's crazy.
Trials,
90
though, makes sense, yeah.
I ended up losing first freaking round.
I do
in
remember this.
Poland
Yeah, we were talking about that.
to Chris. He's a game competitor, man. You know,
Which is funny. Chris is also from Illinois.
Yeah,
right?
Chris is a local Illinois
How
guy.
crazy. Yeah, you guys
Him
both
and
went to the
Giuseppe
other side of the
flew
world?
Yeah.
14 hours to do something they could have done. 30-minute
Could
ride
have
in
done it
someone's
remotely,
garage.
and then one person goes. That
Yep.
would have been better.
Yeah, so kudos to him, man. He got me. He's very dangerous,
Yeah,
very
he's talented.
game. He did all the trials last year, and
And
yeah,
he gets
so
into something like you and I were just talking about last week, which is the tactics of ADCC.
very tactful.
He's
Yeah.
We were-
smart.
Smart guy.
We were just talking about that before. He drags people into 50-50.
Yeah.
And he just plays that
Yeah,
game
he has
really
his
good.
specific game.
Well,
Yeah.
I remember watching the first time he really burst on the scene was the
first West Coast.
the West
Yeah.
Coast trials, yeah. And I remember he just had multiple matchup where like in my head I was just like
He's probably gonna lose.
Probably
And
not. I mean, when he gets Kieran Kerchuk, and I was like, I don't see him
Tough
beating him. And then he
matchup.
beat him, and then he went to go to Cody Steele. And I remember they just went to overtime, and my brain was like, he's not going to out wrestle Cody. And he just like
Yeah.
Tactically,
he,
yeah.
he like strategy, but he shot for 3 seconds, then he pulled guard, and then it was
Yeah.
just.
Yeah,
no.
it's that's a big part of grappling that I think is underrated or maybe misunderstood too is the tactics.
Yeah.
Everyone's all about techniques. Everyone's trying to learn techniques. Everyone's trying to study something like how is the person doing it. But reality is everyone has techniques. Techniques are
Dime a dozen.
Yeah, aren't as special. It's who can implement the best tactics. That's the person who's going to win.
Knowing what you want to go to and getting there.
Game plan,
and just
a strategy,
relentlessly
and a game,
getting there.
yeah.
And that's what he's good at, chaining both sides. You defend one side, he's already throwing a K guard on the other side, you know, and now attacking the upper body. So
you got some good
dangerous guy,
takeaways from
but
that?
yeah, a lot of good takeaways and very sour taste in my mouth. You know, no one likes to fly 14 hours
Yeah.
to Europe and
One match.
One match.
But that is what is really exciting and frustrating about the trials.
Yeah.
Right? It's like it's one thing if you go do the open or whatever and
Yeah.
you know like, oh, you lose, all right, double elimination, I'm going to
For
get
sure.
that.
Get a
that
shot
match.
back at it. Yeah.
yeah,
Right?
it
And,
just
you know
builds-
you're going to win that, like, I'm going to get back.
Yeah.
But, man.
I know I'm gonna get got.
Yeah, I'm going to get some.
I'm gonna get something.
So, yeah. So, this is exciting. The East Coast, East Coast trials. Then now you have the second Europeans, and then
West
the West
Coast.
Coast trials.
Yeah.
We're signed up for that already.
Yeah.
That's why I think what's the next thing on my mind is I'm thinking about that a lot.
Yeah.
And
Super
it comes
excited.
quick, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It
going to
comes
be
quick,
quick.
before you know it. It's March 1st, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
here we
Yeah.
go.
Everything's flying by.
Yeah.
So let's do a little background story in general for jiu-jitsu. So you were born in Sicily.
Yes.
Your family moves out here.
Yep.
No martial arts experience, like your family wasn't in martial arts.
No
or anything?
martial arts. No,
Yeah.
nothing.
What
Just,
got you into jiu-jitsu?
So jiu-jitsu, what got me into it? So I started off as a wrestler. I started wrestling at 13 in 7th grade, and I don't know what drew me to it, but we had wrestling in gym class, and I just knew I wanted to go and do it. And I didn't know what it was about, but something inside of me was just like, you need to go do this. And
That's awesome.
started in 7th grade, joined the club immediately, joined the middle school team, and was just literally getting pounded. Like, didn't win a match, didn't get a takedown. But
Were
I
you
was
an
training.
athletic kid? Did you do other sports? and
No,
stuff?
I wasn't. I played
Really?
soccer for I played soccer in
Yeah,
4th grade.
I would have guessed soccer. That would be
Okay.
my
Yeah.
guess. He's
Yeah.
got the lanky,
and I got pretty
lanky
decent
legs.
at it. Yeah, you know, but I was
And you're
always
Italian, so like,
Yeah.
you kind of had to start right.
had no choice. My dad's like, you're playing soccer.
Yeah, soccer's normal.
You're doing something. So yeah, wrestling was the first art I started, and I fell in love with it right away. Just indulged myself in it, trained every day, twice a day from a young age, and it got me tougher. And like you guys said, was I athletic? No, I wasn't. I ran like a duck. I was long, I was lengthy, I was awkward, and I don't think I started becoming athletic until later. We can talk about that later. But I wanted it, and I had a lot of heart. So, you know, I was able to persevere through the suck and eventually start to have some success through 7th and 8th grade. And it was just, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to wrestle, right? Jiu-jitsu, what's funny is that when I was 14, I walked into MTC, and I was training like martial arts, Midwest Training Center.
Yeah.
You guys are
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah,
with
MMA.
It was in Schaumburg.
Much
like,
more of an MMA school, though, right?
Yeah. 10 minutes from my house. One day just stumbled in there, and it's funny because I started doing jiu-jitsu at 14, learned a triangle omoplata armbar. And then I was doing it for like a week, 2 weeks. I'm like, this is going to mess up my wrestling. I don't want to do this
I don't want to be on
anymore.
my back.
Screw this.
Yeah, so I just stopped doing jiu-jitsu.
So you had a little introduction,
Yeah.
young.
Never forgot that omoplata.
Got that taste.
Yeah. So
That's funny.
looking back, you know, hindsight's 2020. I wish I had someone smack me in the head
And
and
say,
like
"Stick
stay
with
in there,
it."
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is something, just quick little side note of how much it's evolved since, you know, that's like 10 years,
Yeah.
15 years, whatever. You know, I forget how old we are. You're about my age, right?
30.
We're all around the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
age. But like that time, there was a lot of people who would tell me too, like not to train jiu-jitsu. They're like, no, don't do it. Just wrestle right now because it's going to mess with you. But like today's athletes, grappling, they
do
are
them
so
all.
supportive
Oh, yeah.
of like people doing every style of wrestling, freestyle, folk style, all, you know, Greco-Roman wrestling, and then also doing jiu-jitsu, different styles of jiu-jitsu. So like it's really become a grappling world.
Yeah.
Those
Where-
kids who diversify are the
And
best.
they're usually
Yeah.
the best. Yeah, you know, kids who do judo and
They just
wrestling.
have a huge knowledge.
Absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
like we're talking about their
Yeah, I mean,
tactics.
it's
or-
like you know, I really do think that kids, you know, and adults, but kids when they're learning, it's better for them to be well-rounded. But think about like being well-rounded in one thing. So like it's still all grappling.
yeah.
You know, I'm not saying you can't, you know, play baseball or play soccer and be a good wrestler. You can definitely, and I think there's some benefits to being a well-rounded athlete. But the well-rounded grappler is a concept.
It
that
won't
I
help
think-
you as much.
I think it's more acceptable now. But yeah,
Oh,
when I was
absolutely.
saying that, I got yelled at all the time because I was doing jiu-jitsu at 14 and wrestling. And like my coach would be like, don't do,
You're gonna ruin
we'd
it.
We'd be messing around. I'm doing stuff. He's like, that's stupid. You're on your back. So that's funny that, I do think it's more acceptable now.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look at the guy who won 66,
Oliveira's,
One
Yeah.
week he's in a
He's
jiu-jitsu
and then
tournament.
he
The next
goes-
week he's in a wrestling tournament,
Yeah.
with high level. But
And Dorian,
it's still
super
hard,
talented.
when you still have people specializing.
Yeah.
Like to be able to flip the switch when you're training for this to that, it's difficult,
Yeah.
As we saw.
But
with
I think what that does is it expands their mind with the tactics that we're talking about. So like to have a tactical mind, you need to be able to switch from rule set to rule set. Those people who
Absolutely.
can do that well, those are some
They're
talented
going to know how to
athletes.
play the tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. They're really, you have to study rules more than just be like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone who's like into the idea of just muscle memory as an idea, I think that's kind of silly.
How about real memory?
Yeah. Just like
Yeah.
actually just know what you're doing. Here's the rules. Change,
that can get you in
if you're a
trouble.
good grappler, you can do both.
Yeah, absolutely, and you have to, and that like we have to. One day we'll be an ADCC, but maybe we'll do a Midwest finishers
Yeah.
where it's 10 minutes
Submission
sub
only. Yep.
So you got to be ready to.
I'm proud
adjust.
that I feel like I could do every type of rule
You
set.
can adapt. Yeah.
I'd like to think so.
And
We'll
you
find
have,
out.
you know?
Yeah, I've
No,
done them.
you
I've
have,
done
yeah.
most of them. I have never done an IBJJF though.
Really?
Yeah.
Never done
No
it. Never.
shit.
Never
Are you
once.
guys certified under?
I don't
No.
even know to be
No.
honest. I don't know.
Jeff is. Yeah, I know Jeff is.
Yeah, so you guys could-
Honestly, I
Jeff
don't
could
know.
approve us, but
As
yeah.
soon- I've looked it up. So this is funny. So like I beat Junie, right?
Yep.
And then Junie won Worlds.
Yeah.
Hey,
When
Joey
Junie,
meet-
when Junie won Worlds, I was like, I gotta look this up. How do I do this? I look it up and I just see all these different things I gotta do. It's like you gotta do this thing.
Slay the dragon, run through the fire.
Yeah, all this shit that you gotta do.
Yep.
Like you gotta pay for this membership. You gotta pay for that
You
membership.
got to pass the bar exam. You know.
And I was instantly turned off. I'm like, nah. I was like, he can have it.
Yeah. Right now it's not important, but maybe as the school grows,
Yeah.
it's just better to get competition. Maybe
And
some
I-
people want
and
to
I
get competition.
I believe things will change a lot, in the next couple of years. I think there's going to be a lot of growth with the tournament scene in general. So I'm hopeful that
That they won't make it as difficult. Yeah.
I just hope so, but
I agree.
we'll see. But yeah, so then how does jiu-jitsu come up? So MMA is this?
So you're
As high school.
wrestling in high school.
Wrestled in high school.
How'd you do?
So I ended up, the best result I ever had was a 5th place state finish.
Nice.
I ended up.
That's really good, man.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You got to remember too. This is for those who don't know about wrestling. Illinois is tough.
Illinois is the best state in all
Ever.
in the
No.
world. Yeah.
So my senior
But it's
year.
true though. I mean,
Illinois is
compared to
pretty
other
good, right?
states-
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's like for people who know wrestling, it's like the Midwest is good.
Yeah.
You have New Jersey's really good. Like there's certain areas, but you can be in a certain state that's like it's not as impressive to be a
Yeah,
state.
absolutely.
Like,
Wyoming state champ.
even
you know?
Florida. I think they're getting better, but like a lot of people would be like, I placed in Florida. It's like it's not as impressive as
People
like
out at the
Iowa.
beach.
Yeah.
Illinois, Ohio,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, so I wrestled varsity all 4 years of high school. My freshman year, I was 152 pounds. My sophomore year, 145 pounds. I was 6'2",
you went down.
6'2" in like 8th grade.
Just
you know what I'm saying?
string bean.
Just
Lanky, man.
string bean. So
God, I'm
145. And then the next year, I was like,
Me and Jay are just like, fuck you.
I was so just broke from weight cutting. I'm like, screw this. And I went 189 my sophomore,
Oh, my
my
God.
junior year.
Nice.
So I went 52, 45, 89, and then 89 my senior year. And my senior year, I'm kind of known for this blowing my match. So I was in the semifinals against this guy, and I was up like 12 points, and I ended up shooting in and getting put to my back and pinned. Yeah, and he ended up winning state. He was a 2-time state champ. But yeah,
Up by 12.
Came back to took 5th. Left a big sour taste in my mouth. I was done with grappling. I didn't want to do anything. I had injured. That's where I injured this foot.
You're burning yourself out a little bit.
Yeah, I was done. I was just ready to move on with my life. Just a dumb kid. Didn't realize how big grappling could be in your life. You think by 22, I'm done grappling.
Yeah, I think that's a wrestler's mentality too. Is
Absolutely.
You see it as a seasonal thing, and it's like, now what?
Yeah.
Unless you're Olympic level, which is the
Yeah,
few
and
far
that wasn't
between.
even in my mind. Like
Right.
all I wanted to be was a state champ. I didn't even know about the
About
college
college
scene.
wrestling, yeah.
I didn't. But my coach, he ended up helping me out and getting me a spot on the team at U of I. So I walked on to U of I and wrestled another 3 years there. So my junior year comes around, and I end up getting kicked off the team. Right, being a little shithead.
Okay.
So we can maybe talk about that.
We'd love that. We'd love
He looks at the
shit
clock,
stories. Yeah.
being young and dumb, but yeah, I ended up getting kicked off the team my junior year, going through a lot of stuff, and I came home for the summer and had a lot of time, and I was like, what am I gonna do? So I came back into MTC, and that's kind of like what reignited the other martial arts. So I wasn't wrestling. Walked back into MTC over the summer, and Alex is like, "Hey man, how you feeling?" I'm like, "I'm good." He's like, "Oh, I remember you when you were young." I'm like, yeah. He goes, "You'd like to take a fight this summer?" I'm like,
That's how MTC was.
Yeah, why not?
In my memory, it was like they would just take anyone.
You want to fight this
you wanna
weekend?
fight?
Yeah.
You want to fight? I'm like, yeah, why not? I'm like, at first I was like, nah, I'm not really a fighter. You know, he goes, listen, like you'll be good. You can wrestle.
You wrestled. You're fine.
Like, yeah, okay, whatever. So that gave me
So
something
you
to
had
do.
some MMA fights, right?
Yeah, I had 2 MMA fights. So 2014 was my first one over the summer. Trained.
Man, was it local cards? Did we fight on the same cards?
What's it called? XFO.
Were you in XFO?
Okay.
Outdoor War.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We probably fought on the same card then.
Yeah. Joey fought in all
I mean, I
those.
fought in every XFO since 2009 to when
Probably,
it ended.
right? So yeah, that was in 2014.
That's
and
awesome.
then, you know,
2014. Yeah, I definitely fought on
I was
that.
still
year.
a junior in college.
Okay.
So I had another year. Came home during the summer, trained some jiu-jitsu, trained some striking, but it wasn't
So what was
jiu-jitsu.
what was your feeling about MMA? You know, as you had those 2 fights, did you see that as a avenue for like a career, or did you just think this is something I'm doing?
absolutely. After that first fight, you know, and just the success I was having in the gym of being just a wrestler, I was like, wow, like
Yeah. So
if I
you
learn
saw
some
potential.
striking, I start doing some jiu-jitsu, maybe I can do something with this, you know. But I still had another year of college, and I wanted to get my degree. I was there 3 years in, you know, so
Yeah.
I ended up going back to college, graduating in 2015, came back, started thinking about all that, and I was like, yeah, let's get another MMA fight. Had another MMA fight, outdoor war again, so 2 years between my fights, right?
Okay. Wow.
But it wasn't like a fight. It was just basically me taking the guy down, you know, getting hit once in
punched.
a while.
Yeah.
It wasn't a fight.
You
like,
beat somebody up.
yeah, I beat somebody up,
Yeah.
you know.
Hey, but
So-
having the ability to do so, yeah, it's cool.
You know,
Yeah,
and
that was my only game plan when I first started. I would just go in there, try not to get hit, take people down, and try to
yeah,
submit
I know
them.
you're like a real MMA veteran.
I
you
mean,
know.
but I think about like my amateur fights. I was 18 years old. My first fight, I
Wow.
was still in high school,
That's crazy.
and like when I did it, like I just knew how to wrestle, and I loved jiu-jitsu. I was my biggest attribute for fighting, in my opinion, when I was younger, was that I was a super fan.
So you just
and
knew
I
all the
watched
moves.
I watched everything. I knew
Same.
everything about UFC. Like I knew every card. I knew every fighter. So like that was my, you know, like Kyle with football, watching football. It's
Yep.
probably like one of your best attributes as a football player.
Yep.
So I just felt like I knew stuff. You know.
Well, I mean, same thing with jiu-jitsu. You used to always be
Well,
like,
now I'm getting bigger. Now I'm studying. I'm watching jiu-jitsu more. I
Yep.
never did. When
But you always say, like, man,
Yeah.
Kyle's
You
got a
knew
little
shit.
jiu-jitsu nerd. Yeah, it's like I know everybody. Yeah,
and
you know.
it's underrated. It's an underrated skill of fanning. Like you have to be a fan.
Yeah.
If you really want to be
You gotta
good
live
at
it,
something. Yeah,
right?
you gotta live it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's cool. So you had your 2 fights.
Yeah.
What made you kind of stop fighting, or was there any?
To be honest, I didn't like getting hit.
Yeah.
And I started training more. I was getting cut, you know, my style. And I was just like, man, I love competing. I love this, but I just don't see myself having a future in MMA. And I was just being honest with myself at that point, you know. And
Well, that's smart. You know what I
yeah.
mean? I think so many people hear that or feel that and don't listen to it and think that there's no
Absolutely.
other option.
And I didn't listen to that, you know, because I was like, oh, you know,
you want to be tough. Everyone wants to be tough.
Yeah,
It's not
and I
about being
was
tough.
going with people that are in the UFC, and you know,
Yeah.
I saw the potential was there, but it just was the juice worth the squeeze to
Mm-hmm.
me. And honestly, it might be one of my biggest regrets, but also it led to
Yeah, I think
other
man,
things.
I don't think you should regret it at all.
Yeah.
And that's me speaking from someone who I stuck with it.
Yeah,
And if not that I wish I don't wish I would change anything. I don't want to change anything, but I would have slowed down and I would have embraced the grappling scene more
Yeah, absolutely.
throughout. I didn't. I
While
was
you were
totally
fighting?
turned off from that, and I was just everything was about fighting. So you know, it's fun. No matter what, you're gonna regret something. But
and that's the thing. Like you romanticize about it, but everyone thinks about fighting and being Conor McGregor, being in the UFC, but no one thinks about like Sam Stout or Spencer Fisher.
Spencer
Yeah.
Fisher's
or like you know,
Spencer Fisher. For anyone who know, I got to talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
'Cause,
Yep.
you know, people who really follow the sport understand. Like Spencer Fisher was a very successful UFC fighter. You know, he'd had a lot of wins, some losses, lots of bonuses.
Big highlights,
Exciting
big
guy.
flying
Just-
knees.
He
and
was
yeah.
one of the most exciting fighters.
Yeah.
Huge fan. I was a huge
Scrapped.
fan.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of his career, totally broke, no money. And that's not a commentary on his lifestyle. Who knows, how he spent his money, but now he's got some legitimate mental disabilities from fighting.
yeah,
Some real legitimate injuries, CTE, And the question of whether it's worth it, it's a very tough. That's the 99%. So there's only maybe 0.5% of people who truly make the money that some people think is attainable. The Conor McGregor money.
Absolutely.
That's such a small percentage.
And then it's like, are you ready to get cut and go fight for
the small shows?
Not saying discrediting any of these shows.
$100 though. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I mean my first fight. My professional fight. My first professional fight was $200.
Yeah.
People don't believe me.
They don't pay for
They think
gas,
I'm joking.
And how many amateur fights did you pay to fight?
Technically paid to fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I get paid some ticket sales, but at the end of the day, I mean, like if I calculated it, I've definitely spent more money on fighting than I ever made. But I also knew that my plan was always to teach. Like I wanted to teach. I wanted to be a school owner.
It was an investment.
So that was more, but I don't think many fighters do.
No.
Like I know so many who they just thought they went all in.
Yeah.
With no
belt or bust.
Yeah.
And I think
no background.
naively, I told myself that, but in the back of my mind, I was just like, all right, let me just try this out. Say I did it, do it, walk the walk.
Well, definitely, dude, it gives you a level of credibility with your grappling.
Yeah.
And I really, you talked about it when you were young as a wrestler. The heart that you had. You weren't super athlete, but you had a lot of heart, and that's something that as a fighter, like that's something you get to prove as a fighter. And no matter what, like you can prove that you have good heart in wrestling and in jiu-jitsu, but there is something special about a fight. The moment it's a fight, it's like I know so much about people from fighting them, even sparring them. Like when we punch, I know
you grab
exactly
them
who
and
you are as a person. The moment I punch you, and you either completely shell and fade,
or do you throw some punches
or do you
back?
come back, even if you suck.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about people's mental fortitude and their heart. So if you have, that's the problem though. Some people have too much heart.
Too much.
Spencer Fisher is like too much heart, man.
Yep.
And it ends up being bad.
Kill himself,
Smart work could be hard work, right?
Yeah.
So
I think you made the right choice, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look where we're at now.
Right.
Your grappling is awesome, and that's what it makes you one of my favorite grapplers to watch.
I appreciate
Is that
it, man.
Dude, he's got the heart.
tenacity.
No matter
Yeah.
what, there's no more. I can't think of anyone else who I've ever gotten to coach or watch who has more intensity when they're grappling. And it's so much fun. I have fun when I'm grappling. I'm smiling, laughing.
No.
Kyle, you're kind of like that too.
Giuseppe brings it.
But Giuseppe's there's a little bit oh shit.
Yep.
This is exciting.
Yeah, and it's just
I'm he's trying to
it's
kill
just
this guy.
how I am.
I love it,
So
dude.
going back to Costa Mesa, I remember the first interaction I had with you there was it came over right at the end of your match. I just tried to coach you for the last 30 seconds, and then you stood up and you were like, "Fucking dude's greasing, bro." And then the guy's like, "I'm not greasing." You're like, "I fucking hold you the whole match. I know you're greasing." Just right in his face. I was like, and my brain just went, "I would have never done that." I would immediately
sorry, sir. Sorry, I slipped on you.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, and what's messed up is that me and that guy now we're actually pretty tight.
Cool.
Yeah, he all the matches I've had, ironically, he's been at the head table. He's a ref.
Oh,
and
that's funny.
He's like, "Bro, I wasn't greasing." I'm like, "My bad, man. I was just salty. I couldn't enter on your legs." I'm like, "You had to be."
I know you're greasing.
Yeah. So
it was great. Yeah. Giuseppe's got these intense moments, man. I love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But that's part of the fun. I think jiu-jitsu, especially this ADCC and the submission wrestling, it's just so exciting.
yeah, and that's kind of don't get me wrong. I understand this is just jiu-jitsu. You know what I'm saying? And this isn't anything. But it's a game, right? But I heard a quote from Burroughs one time, and it's a picture of him on his Instagram. Jordan Burroughs, great wrestler, Olympic champion, and he's in this dude's face, and he's banded up, and he's like, most people want a wrestling match, give them a fight, So especially in ADCC, like you said, if someone's technical and they got good leg
How you gonna
locks,
beat 'em?
but they've
What's the
never had
difference?
their head pounded on, and they never had your face in their face.
They've never had their heart tested.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't just do that. You got to have a little bit of finesse. You got to, but when sometimes you're playing chess, you just got to
gotta check
on the board.
check
what
it
I'm
up.
saying?
Yeah, shake the table a little bit.
Throw the board out the way and hop on the table. You know?
No, I'm so in on it. I love it, and it's all balance. Of course, you can't just be that meathead, but there is a level of just let go of the finesse.
Yeah.
And test people, because I know I can feel it too. There's certain people who are very talented, but as soon as you give them a little bit of a fight. And I have no problem with that, because this is what I do. You're not gonna. No one can intimidate me because I've been there. You cannot in a grappling match.
Especially
Sorry.
with your weight classes,
You just
because
can't
these
intimidate
kids
me.
are
I think we'll really
They're
they
so
just
young,
don't
man.
stop moving, so you have to get.
I gotta
on
get
them.
rough with
You
them.
have to get rough on
But they're
them.
not. There's no one who like I've felt that when people have tried to like act tough in a jiu-jitsu match with me. It's like I just laugh because you
Yeah.
can't hit me.
Yep.
It's like,
Yeah.
like how are you gonna act tough? It's like I mean you better. I mean if you're talented, you're good, but you're not gonna scare me.
Yeah.
No.
But if I grab them and I kind of get a little rough and I put my hands on them,
Yeah.
I can feel them go, oh shit, like
You're
this is
constantly
too.
camping on them. You're making them carry your weight. There's a way to be aggressive and assertive and and assertive and
I like assertive. That's the word.
in a very directive way with like intent instead of like right.
Yeah.
I can camp here and exhaust you. I can hold you here and exhaust. I can pull your head up here and exhaust you.
It's the physicality of a match.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's why like probably you won't ever see Mikey Musumeci do an ADCC.
Yeah, he's denied
I just
it every
think,
time.
yeah,
right?
I just think it's not,
It's not his game.
Yeah, I don't think he'd like that.
It's interesting. I would like to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a hyper technical guy. I think he lost in one of those who's number one's that Gabriel Souza.
That was
Gabriel's
a
just
good
a
match.
little too physical for
I
him.
think,
right?
I think I
Just
sent
rough.
you guys that pass breakdown he
Yep.
did on
Yep.
him. Yeah.
And he north-southed him and-
north-southed
yep.
him the whole time. It's
which,
hard, man.
Which, by the way, that's where all my attention has been right now.
Mobile passing.
Yeah, just passing in general, like all the concepts, because we're getting ready to teach that pretty soon. We're going to be studying quite a bit.
I've been really excited for that module,
Yeah, it's gonna be
because
fun.
like as I'm getting really technical with my guard passing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're feeling good on top and sitting back on your leg locks too.
Thanks, man.
And
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
trying.
It's
that's
gonna be
going
fun.
to open it up as you threaten more.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
you got
it's
me-
going to
you
be
got
a
me
fun
on,
full
Thursday.
circle.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
Thursday,
Yeah.
you were pressuring hard and kind of baited me to throw my leg in, and
Thanks.
you had a good entry there, so
Nice.
you're feeling
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I like watching you guys roll. It's good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It
Yeah.
was good today,
So-
dude. You gassed the shit out of me.
Yeah, but
Dude, I could not
yeah.
believe.
If I gassed it, was he was on my back for the whole round. So I was
shaking
just
him real
trying
quick?
real hard.
I've never felt someone just not give up.
Yeah,
it was
that's
crazy. Like
Kyle's,
you were doing-
Just trying to squirm, man.
I've always
Yeah.
said it. I'm sure I said it on the podcast. Kyle's the guy who instantly, when I start rolling with him, he looks like he's exhausted. He's breathing funny. He's just kind of looks like he's dying. But I've never seen Kyle like truly get tired while we're rolling.
He gassed me out. I was on his back. He gassed me
Yeah.
out, and then
He
he
just keeps
gets up
going.
and just goes and rolls with someone
I
else,
love
like
it.
a hard
Yeah.
roll right after. I was like, wow.
Kyle's got a, I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, Kyle, but I feel like you got a good chip on your shoulder and you got a lot of motivation after
Yeah.
Long
Yeah.
Beach.
Yeah, I definitely do.
He's got this like,
Yeah.
Since then he's just been like a little bit more intense.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
love it. I
definitely
love it.
feel it.
I just feel like that's we keep talking about me puking and stuff, and I feel like it's just something that like I'm just not gonna allow it to happen. If I just train with some intensity and stuff like that. And I was even kind of thinking about it too, like in Long Beach, like when I got off the mat, I wasn't feeling too bad, and then like when I went and kind of like chilled out is when like my stuff, and like honestly, I should like grab a jump rope and just start like keeping my body flowing and staying
Probably.
warm, and
I
it's-
hate when you sit down. I tell you to keep, get
Yep.
up, keep
Yep.
moving. Don't let it happen. Don't
Yep.
let yourself settle.
So
we'll get into
Yep.
Long Beach a little bit more.
We'll
and
fix it. Yep.
So jiu-jitsu then. Let's continue with the story a little bit. So MMA, you're done with school. I feel like jiu-jitsu is a massive part of your life now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you have a moment when did that kind of settle in? That like, because I know you're a personal trainer.
Yep.
That's like that would be your job. You'd
Yeah.
say, which is awesome for jiu-jitsu. You're kind of in the movement realm. You're in
Yeah.
the physical realm. But how did jiu-jitsu then? Was there a moment when you're like, this is what I'm going to do for my life? It's jiu-jitsu.
So I had just got done with my last fight in 2016, and I got cut really bad over the summer, like over my eyebrow, and I was like, God, I was supposed to take
Let me see
another
some
fight.
scars. What you got?
Yeah, I got them all over my upper eyes.
shooting.
That's
Shooting every
Yeah.
time.
Okay.
Shooting
Yep.
it under a jab.
That's how you know a good wrestler, man. Jordan Burroughs got those scars,
and
dude.
just leaking,
Yep.
man. And I'm like, God. And it happened every time the same way, off the same double leg in the same ring. I'm like, man, I'm just not trying to get 8 stitches. I have another fight coming up, and that actually happened during the summer of my first fight. I got cut up, and I had a fight like 3 weeks later. Stitches in, get them out, and I'm like, all right, whatever. Can't let this guy hit me. But
I've been there.
so 2016 comes along. I'm still really bent on fighting, and I'm actually working here at this time at the Endorphin Effect. I was one of the first trainers here, trainers and yoga
Yep.
teachers.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I start to really get into the scene. I'm training at Compritos. I'm starting to do like gi jiu-jitsu.
Is that your first jiu-jitsu school?
Yeah. So
I know MTC, but for training the gi.
when I came back from college in 2015, I actually went to Fusion Fitness.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it was right by my house. I moved in with my sister for a little bit right after college. She lives in Elgin. And looked up a gym, and it just happened to be Fusion. So
Nice.
at the time, they were a little bit, it was a little
Jeff
different.
Kim then?
Yeah, Jeff and Adam Miller.
Adam Miller
and
was teaching.
Brian Wells. Yeah, so
Awesome.
a lot.
That's
Adam
the
Miller's
core.
art,
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were right off. I think they were still under
with Jeff, right?
Pedro Sauer
Yeah,
system.
Pedro Sauer and
so
Jeff.
they were still trying to figure out their thing. Ian was out there doing the Muay Thai program.
I think 2016, huh?
Yeah, and that really, that
Puts me
school,
back into that time frame.
they really, you to talk about like martial artists, Jeff Kim,
Yeah.
they've
True
been at
martial
it
arts.
forever, so I learned a lot over there, learned a lot of good striking from Ian, he's got a phenomenal Muay Thai system, and
Yeah.
He was my Thai
that
boxing
kind
coach.
of, introduced me to my first, mentor and into the world of jiu-jitsu. I met Ortiz and just
Shout out to Matt Ortiz.
shout
He's
out
here
Matt
today.
Ortiz, the bull.
Me and him rolled like 20 minutes today, which is long for us.
Yeah, that's long. That's
was rough,
That's
but-
long. It's a long for a mismatch size wise.
Oh, yeah, it
I'm
was
this
fun.
I'm this wrestler in the gi. I'm at this school, and everyone you got to go with Matt. You got to go with Matt, and I go with Ortiz, and you can expect how that roll went. You know what I'm saying? Just get pounded.
We're talking about physicality.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Darson anacondas, and I'm like, wow. So
Next popping, cracking your back.
he ended up. We ended up connecting right away, starting to train,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, it's crazy. Since 2015, he's been a really big training partner for me, and he's just such a
Every time I
savage.
talk to him about you, he's always excited. Like he's like, I remember, when he was like newer, he's like, look how good he's gotten.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's a cool, like little bit of pride. I love it.
Yeah.
So I was splitting time between Fusion and MTC going in there, and after 2016, my last fight, I got cut and started really decide that what am I doing here? But at the same time, jiu-jitsu was picking up. I was at Compritos doing the gi, doing some IBJJF tournaments, and I had gotten Mario into jiu-jitsu around the same time. So I had like a 2-year and a half head start on him.
Okay.
Yeah, and then after my last fight, he's
But
like,
you wrestled with Mario? Is that how you knew him?
yeah. So he was my teammate in college, and he was 2 years ahead of me. So like,
Okay.
Mario, super talented
Yeah.
grappler, ADCC runner-up.
yeah,
for
crazy.
trials.
So we didn't really know what was going on. We thought IBJJF was a big thing, going from Compritos school.
And Capritos is kind of big into it, right?
Yeah, and we started kind of looking at the scene, figuring things out, and he actually mentioned ADCC, Mario. He's like, I'm going to go out
like,
and
what is
fly.
this?
Yeah, I'm like, what is this? So it was, I didn't realize how big it was. I didn't understand the prestige, how it went back years. I was just like, oh, it's just another grappling tournament, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this was in 2000, I want to
17?
say, 17, 18.
I think that's when he...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when he flew out to the East Coast trials by himself with like a 20-man bracket.
Yeah.
And ended up taking second.
I crushed it.
Just
Insane.
with no jiu-jitsu.
Just a wrestler.
Just wrestling, lost in overtime to Tim Spriggs,
Jeez.
So it was
Wild, right?
Yeah.
But, at the same time, though, it has... it seems like not that long ago.
Yeah.
But the ADCC in particular and
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu in general just has grown so much in that time.
Yeah.
Like
So
the tournament,
exploded.
the level has gotten a lot higher.
Right then and there, like I knew, okay, I'm doing the gi, but I was
This
24,
connects a little bit
25,
more, right?
I'm doing jiu-jitsu. I'm like, man, I gotta kind of, if I'm going to do this, I can't be good at everything. So I'm going to start to specialize. So I took off the gi pretty early,
Okay.
around purple belt in 2017, 18. And really focused on ADCC. And my first trials was in 2019, the West Coast in California. And I had like 90, maybe 70 people in my bracket, And I ended up losing first round to, you guys know Stanley Rosa?
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah,
familiar.
he's a Bronx. He's a Henzo Gracie guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's one of the when they were the original Death Squad. He was one of they'd call him like the junior members, but he was,
yeah.
he's really
So-
good. he beat Porter at one of the finishers.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's a really
talented.
tough guy, nasty leg locks, and I was so naive. I learned, I knew an anaconda. I'm like, oh, I'm ready to beat everybody. You know what I'm
Got my
saying?
move. Yeah.
Got my move. I'm good. And
Yeah. It's amazing what you don't know.
it's amazing what you don't know. Just so naive because just the background that I have, but I didn't understand how in depth this game really was.
Yeah.
And, and what's funny is that before that trials, I had done Nogi Worlds, 2018. I actually flew out to New York to go train in the Blue Basement.
Oh, did you?
Yes, for like a couple of days.
Nice.
And I walk in there, and I'm doing my thing, going with people. Everyone's there. I didn't really get a chance to go with any of the top guys.
Okay.
But this older gentleman, he goes, "Hey man, you want to roll?" I go, "Sure." Just proceeds to just
Wreck you.
wreck me, man. Absolutely wreck me. And ends up being one of Don Herr's like OG black belts. This guy's name is Doug. He owns a Henzo Greensea in the Bronx.
Okay.
He's just basically an
You
Ortiz
wouldn't know him, but
that's
yeah.
been trained under Danaher.
Okay.
That's
You know
awesome.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
So fast forward there, we're at the trials, and Stanley Rosa walks out. You know, I see, I didn't know who he was or anything, but I see he's being coached by Danaher and this guy that pounded
That's
me
the
at-
guy.
at
And you're like,
Henzo's. So he's his coach. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, this is kind of crazy, you know? But yeah, he right away, we have a good, crazy exchange. I take him down, but threw up a K guard, got me an outside Ashi. And even before he got it, I didn't know. Even
Yeah.
before he got the heel exposed, I'm tapping. You know?
Okay.
He ended up beating, Roberto Jimenez that tournament. And he took second,
names.
lost to Josh Hinger.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, so he's still around. He's still competing, you know. But yeah, it was
So that was
just
your big first exposure to like leg locks in a
Yeah.
competitive setting, because
Yeah.
even in, I think in IBJJ Worlds, right?
Back then it was
I don't
not
think they had
allowed.
heel hooks, right? They
No.
weren't allowed to
No,
do heel
not
hooks.
yet, no.
And then now they are, but
Yeah, and even where I was training at, there was a lot of issues because there
It was a
was
little
this
taboo, right?
ushering in of the new age, I guess, to say.
Yeah.
Yep.
that's not to say
But
anything
people
bad
didn't
about
believe
schools,
that.
but there's certain schools that they just, there's a like an opposition to it. There's like I guess like a dogmatic kind of like
That's the word. Yeah. That just.
it's just like it's not what they want to practice and learn. So
And
if
that's
your
a
school's
problem.
not teaching it, there's just no. You have to do so much work on your own. There's no guidance to it. You might as well be somewhere else if you really want to learn that.
It's a lot
part
of
the game.
diving.
And that's
Yeah.
what I was doing, you know. I got back at that point, and I was just so salty and bitter, and I was like, "How can I really make this happen?" Like,
Yeah.
looking ahead at the work.
Makes you question everything. Like,
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
do I need to go through?
But I just put my head down, started training, ironically, Fanatics was the time Fanatics was coming out, the leg lock
Yeah.
DVDs coming out, and like just to think about how much has changed since then, it's crazy. But yeah, I kind of took the training into my own hands. I went back to MTC, was the jiu-jitsu coach there. This is all before 2020. So I'm training, doing my thing, getting ready for the trials. And 2020 comes around, and now the next ADCC trials, it's all delayed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes,
So
because of COVID and all that.
yeah, so you basically had another extra year of training. So here I am. I'm like, wow, I was getting ready for trials training, and now I have another year. What am I going to do? All right, let's keep training.
study.
Yeah, study. And that was around the time that the barracks opened up because Mario's brother, Luis, his son, was just entering high school, and the club had closed down.
And who's the actual? Are they the owners?
Yeah, Mario and Louis.
They both
yeah,
own it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and Kendall,
Awesome.
Luis's wife. So yeah, they decided Louis.
And they're great people, man. I'm super supportive of that.
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
Yeah.
They come here for the open mats. They're awesome people, super
Absolutely.
kind.
Super nice
Yeah.
dude. Super
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah.
And talented.
Not the nicest when you're training with them.
I know. Yeah. It's very
nice
scary
people.
to watch train with you guys.
Yep.
That's one of the funniest stories. What was that? I think it was a Friday.
I don't know where you were. Joey was gone, and you brought him for the first time. We were doing like comp class, and it was just like a light.
warm up
Yeah,
part.
there's no
It
light.
was, it was just a
During
light,
the warm-up,
a
they're
light
beating the shit out
crew
of
of
each other.
people. It was just like people who really weren't going that hard. So it was like 4 or 5 people just being very
supposed
gentle.
to be
And
a
you
hard
two
test.
were just like in the corners talking shit to each other, going, "Sorry, I loved it."
Can't bring them nowhere, man. Brings out the worst in me.
It's great. It's great.
No, but that's going back to like that's a 10, 12 year training partner. So like the things that,
For wrestling, you're saying
Yeah.
too. Like you guys known each other
Yeah.
forever. That's awesome.
So coming in as a freshman, Mario was already like the guy. So like
Yeah.
the whoopings I took from that dude. And,
and wrestling
Yeah.
whoopings is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, it's
like,
just grinding.
brutal.
Yeah, you can't lay
There's
on
no
your
nice
back.
way to
There's
do it.
no
yeah.
tap out.
I mean,
You got to get back up.
You can
Yeah.
kind of like you can whoop someone in jiu-jitsu and it still doesn't feel that bad.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like more of like, what the hell? Why does he keep catching me? Why does he keep... But like in wrestling, the only way to beat someone down in wrestling
Beat
is to
him down.
physically beat someone down in
Yeah,
wrestling.
and I was a little young kid, talk a lot of shit, and I had a just murderous row ahead of me. So in
awesome.
college, it was when I
But
got
that's
there
why
as a
you are
freshman.
who you are, though, too. I mean, you definitely have that
Yeah.
ability, you have that toughness.
Yeah, and it just comes from
So you got to enjoy the
taking
beating
it.
sometimes.
So Mario was the king of the mat in your wrestling room.
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure, definitely. Like especially at that point, there were some All-Americans, some state champions, but out of everyone, he was the biggest problem there for sure. And
Okay.
it would be like, I don't think I got a takedown on anybody. I got there in like August. I don't think I got a takedown till like April, May.
Jesus.
Just getting pounded every day.
Yeah.
Hour long goes, hand fighting goes, and that's what you learn from college. It's like, yeah, I was never the guy, but the toughness that I got out of it and the mindset that it gave me, it's what gives me this. I got to remind myself sometimes of what I've been through. It's like,
Right.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that
Like
this
this-
is 6 minutes is nothing.
Yeah, exactly. But you forget, you got to constantly, like bathing, you just constantly got to
Gotta-
remind yourself of this stuff, right?
love
Because
it.
you forget.
Yeah.
You forget. It's like
It's perishable too. Like, that toughness, it can go away if you don't exercise it, you
Yeah.
know, actually.
You don't remember how tough
mentally.
you are.
yeah, for sure.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
Great.
so going back to the jiu-jitsu scene, 2020 comes around and I'm training at MTC, training at the barracks, training at Fusion, and
And you got belted through Caprito?
Yeah, so I got belted through Comprito. I got my purple belt in like 2018, but then I took off the gi and I stopped kind of going there, so I kind of got stuck in limbo. And then
And that's kind of a weird thing about jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
and no-gi grappling, belt system-wise, is
Yeah.
people try to use the belt system, but there's a lot of people who don't even, really
Yeah.
register their belts or
I mean, that
care
was a,
about
that was
it.
a funny thing that almost just crossed my mind. Is like it's so uncouth to belt yourself.
Yeah.
But if you went to a competition and told people like, I'm a black belt, like it would almost be more respectful for you
Yeah.
to do that. So that's like a funny
There's plenty,
thing. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's not even really an issue.
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
And
there
it
just
is what
more-
it is. It's just like, you put in the work. I mean, that's everyone's goal, right? And as a trainer and whatnot, it affects multiple things, like from rates to
Yeah.
to
It's credential, it's what it is.
But everything happens for a reason, and that's not what I'm chasing in this game. I'm chasing
Right.
skills. I'm chasing the goals that I want to accomplish, and that will come when it's time. So. Yeah, 2020 comes around. I'm just training. I got my gym. I got my clients. I got people I'm watching videos with, people I'm training with Mario, Luis. But I still don't have direction. I still don't know what I need to work on. I'm still so naive. Like, I wasn't competing like I am now. Like, last year I had like 40-something matches.
Okay.
From 2017 to 2020, I maybe competed like 10 times.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just trying to figure it out. Like, get better, get the game
That
going.
makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
The
so it was a
level
lot of
how
times
many
working in
matches.
the dark and figuring this out, trying to figure out gym and training situation, work, getting a house, all this adult stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Sucks getting older.
Yeah, absolutely. But 2020 comes around. We got a good training crew. We got the barracks going on, and the next trials comes up. So this is kind of where you guys come into along
Yeah.
too. 2021, we did the East Coast, right?
Yep.
And that was in Atlantic City.
Yep, New Jersey.
Yeah.
That was my first ADCC at all.
Yeah,
first
and
time
this is
ever
where
doing
things
it.
really start to blow up. Like,
Yeah,
it's
that
no
was a
more
huge
than
one.
70 people in your bracket.
No,
Now you got
everything's
200 people.
256.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So,
But
yeah,
that to me was just that's when I fell in love. I already knew I liked it. I
Yeah.
I was into the submission grappling scene. I liked it, but that's when I knew I was like, I'm definitely gonna keep pursuing this until I can't. I'm
Right.
gonna do every
Yeah.
ADCC anything. Was
and that's
after that
kind of where I
tournament.
feel like, kind of switching gears. I know we're all over the place, but
That's fun.
how USA grappling is, it's like right now there's not a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
but
it will be.
in
I see
a couple
it
years,
growing.
I see it growing,
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
we're definitely gonna be, and I want to be on the cutting edge of it. I want to
Yeah.
be the first people in, and I even feel that way. I know it's obviously not true because ADCC has been around, but like with the opens, we've been to almost every.
We were at the beginning.
Yeah.
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 We were where it
and
started.
I like that. I have a little,
especially out here, and you
Yeah.
got people seeing what you did, out in Dallas.
Yeah, we're not
You get people coming out and
no one
training
can
with
touch
you.
that now. We'll always be the people who went out and made the trip happen.
Yeah.
Because that's all it is, a decision. You say, I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
Plenty of people want to. Not many people do it.
Sign
Yeah.
up and buy a ticket.
Sign
right?
up and show up. Yeah.
Yep.
And especially where we're at, it's not you got a school, you guys got school, we all
Yeah.
got jobs, things to do. It's not easy to go out there and scrap.
Yeah, and then come back limping back, and
Yeah.
I got to go back to work.
Ego bruised,
Yeah.
body bruised, but
It's,
yeah, we do it again, man.
got
'cause
lots of
you
bruises.
said, that's how you learn and grow. And there's nothing I love more than just getting back to the drawing board and
Yeah. Well,
having a
that's-
sour taste in my mouth and let's go again.
That's another thing that you and I connected with right away. When I think there was one day, I don't remember when, but seeing like your notes and seeing the pride you took in like studying.
Yeah.
Because there's not that many people who do that.
No,
like I
yeah.
roll with a lot of people, and most people are just like, "Hey, what's that move? Let me see it." And like they're just here in that moment. But then noting when people are taking jiu-jitsu off the mat and like spending valuable time of their life looking at videos, studying stuff, writing stuff down. I respect that a lot because I know it's exhausting. Sometimes that's like the most fatiguing part for
Yeah,
me is like
absolutely.
I'd spend so much extra time planning classes, studying, because for me that's what as a teacher I try to do that. But I know it's for me. I'm learning when I'm planning my classes, but I spend so much time doing that shit.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like there's times where I'm like laying there and I'm like trying to like understand something, writing it down. I'm just exhausted.
Well, you have beginners, you have intermediate. You
to
have,
try to make something work for everyone is a challenge in itself. But even just studying for yourself. And I remember like going through, you show me your notes. I was like, oh, dude, this guy's he's way more organized than me. Like, he had videos planned out. Like I'm just like jotting
little
notes.
photos, little screenshots.
That's something
and
I've
stuff.
always kind of been good at. With school is just being able to segment stuff and take note taking and putting stuff where I need it to find it, So
Dude, it's a huge asset for anyone who's listening who wants to get good at jiu-jitsu. If you're not taking notes, if you have no note system, you have to start. Even if it's just something stupid. Every single class, write something down.
Yeah.
And in the beginning,
you will
feel
huge
like
difference.
in the beginning you'll feel like for a lot of people, you'll write notes, then go back and read them and be like, I don't even understand
Still
what I
worth
fuck. But that's you being just a white belt at it. You have to learn to write notes. It's
it will get
being-
better.
Yeah.
If you don't have
Yeah.
notes, you got to start.
It's a skill to develop.
That's a good
for sure.
point. Yeah, because I'll send like a lot of my clients notes. I'll be like, go study this. And they'll be like, my mind doesn't work like yours. I'm like, my mind doesn't work like that. Yeah. You know how, like
You
hear
practice it.
Italian in my head, bro. Like you need to just study it. You know what I'm saying?
So this might be a good actually transition then of you saying like developing your brain. It seems like through your personal training and stuff, you developed yourself into quite the athlete through, and I think that's another thing you guys really connected on was like the functional patterns and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So, I mean, that's very interesting to me.
Yeah, I would love to hear more. And then
Yeah.
how did you get involved in like, so was that your degree? Did you go to
No,
college?
so I majored in business and Italian. So I had a minor in Italian. Just wanted to learn the language better
That's
because
awesome.
Sicilian's a little bit different than Italian.
Okay.
So I wanted to learn how to write, how
So
to,
you're completely fluent?
I'm pretty fluent. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I can understand everything.
Dude, let's go take a trip to Italy.
let's go.
I would
Yeah,
100%.
let's go.
I've never been.
He'll be our guide.
Yeah, I'm
Go find some gyms.
Yeah.
Yeah. I connected
Write
with a
that
couple.
down. Jot that down, Jay. We're going to Italy.
Jot it down, Jay.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about the going back, to the USA Grappling is you meet all these different countries and they're just people
that's
like
cool.
us, man. You're connecting with
Everyone's
them.
got the same dream.
Yeah, so I met some dudes from Team Italy, from Team
Did you?
Spain, just trying to foster that connection. Like, yo, let's, if we're ever out here, let's train.
That's awesome.
Let's figure something out because it's all about those connections. I'm sure you guys, how many opens have you gone through? You get done scrapping somebody,
I'm friends with everyone, man.
Yep.
You start talking to them,
It's
and
very
now
rare
you
that I
got
don't make
now
a
you got a
friend.
new training partner. Now
Except
you
for
got
that Dominic
someone.
Mejia, he's an ass. And he broke
a
my
little
ankle.
bit.
Yeah, fuck that
He's
guy.
actually kind of nice. I talked to him.
Is he cool? Yeah.
I mean, I did say that last time. He was
Good.
Yeah, I didn't like him either. At
No,
first. I was
yeah.
like, he's kind of a dick. But then he like came up because he lives with DeGrasse.
Yes.
So we were all talking, and then he was actually kind of
He was
nice.
actually really good.
I wanted to not like him, but
Yep.
then he was
Yeah.
like being nice. I was
He
like,
was really funny to me in Chicago when I was puking. He just walked by me and he was just like, "You all right, man?" Like, he was so funny.
No, but that is a huge part, and it's something. I brought that personally. I felt like I brought that for MMA, but it's not like that in MMA.
No.
It's like 90% of people are actually assholes,
Yeah.
and then there's 10% are pretty cool. Whereas jiu-jitsu is the exact opposite. 90% of people are pretty cool, and you're
Yeah.
gonna make friends with people. Even you'll have a crazy match with them, and then after you're gonna be like,
Yeah, for
Where
sure.
do hey, let's roll a little bit after, let's train.
Yeah,
but then
Abraham-
there's 10% that you don't like.
Absolutely,
Abraham
yeah,
tried to be
yeah.
nice to Giuseppe after too.
Did he?
This motherfucker, man. And what's messed up is that like I had to get the video from him because of all this stuff. So
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, man, nice match. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I respect that dude.
Yeah.
He had 90 matches last year.
Yeah, he's legit. He's just kind of arrogant. He's
Yeah.
got that vibe about him.
for
but that's
sure.
at the end of the day, man. Like everyone's got their own way of being, and who am I to
Judge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just some people are more enjoyable to be around.
Yep.
Maybe he's not that guy. Fuck him.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But that's cool. So with the functional patterns, with just movement in general. So how did you get involved in that?
So I got kicked off the team my junior.
Do you mind telling
Yeah,
the story?
tell us. Come on, break it
Yeah,
down.
we like the drama. We want to hear
So-
something crazy.
I was a shithead in college. Okay, I didn't after my like I was on the team, but mentally where I'm at now, like I didn't have any goals. I didn't care, So I was just there. I was just a training partner. I was just using it. I don't know. I guess to just stay in shape, right? But it was mid-March, so this is the first time I got kicked off the team.
Oh, it's 4-1?
First time I got kicked off the team was in 2000, I want to say 13.
Okay.
And Nationals just got done. We had a national champ, 125er win it. We're all out at the bar. It's a snow day in March. So we're standing outside the bar, and I'm standing in line talking to my buddy, and out of the corner of my eye, I just get a snowball straight into my face. So, you know, I'm a little drunk, maybe, you know, a little, I'm 22, 21 years old.
Very Italian.
Very Italian. High blood pressure.
Don't like snowballs.
Don't like snowballs. And I just look over and I see this dorky dude with glasses just laughing.
Random guy?
And I just, random guy. No idea who he is.
Oh, man.
So I just walk up
The
to him.
wrong person to hit with a snowball.
And you know what Andy Varela did to Kyle Chambers? I just smacked the shit out of him and foot swept him. And he must have gone flailing back like a little Sally he was. And he ended up smacking this girl in the nose.
Oh, no.
And he broke her nose. This little tiny girl. And she is, I'm telling you, dude, like leaking.
Leak in the snow.
Leaking in the snow.
Blood.
And I'm like, what is going on? So she like turns around to me. She's like, you mother effer. You see? I'm like, what? And she starts hitting me, like getting blood all over me. So this looks terrible, right? Like, even if you didn't see it like the beginning, like my buddies all saw everything, so they know. And it's just not, her boyfriend starts coming up. I'm calling the cops, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, F this, I'm getting out of here. So basically, I just take off, right? But I was being followed by couple of their friends, right?
Okay.
I got boots on, it's snowy, I'm sprinting, trying to get back to my my apartment.
Yeah.
I get back to my apartment, I see these two guys behind me. I'm like, oh shit, they followed me. So now it's like, where do I go? I don't go back to my apartment, right? So I just start running around, and it's like five-star GTA.
Little drunk trying to hide.
Drunk trying to hide.
Helicopters
I'm like,
coming.
Jesus Christ. So like, you know, I hear whoop, 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 just sirens everywhere. I'm hiding in between apartment buildings, and eventually I get got, right? So you can imagine what happens. You spend the night in jail, you're drunk, young 100-pound girls bleeding, you know what I'm saying?
Looks bad.
Promising I didn't hit this girl, right? I should have hit her with everything I went through, shit. But, you know, whatever. So that was just a big ordeal. Obviously, I get in trouble. I get suspended from the team. And it was just really.
But coach, it was a good foot sweep.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you would have seen it, coach.
You've been proud, coach.
It was a great foot sweep, but led to a series of unfortunate events.
And that's your freshman year, sophomore year?
That's my sophomore year going into junior year. Yeah, so that was very end of season. So like,
I feel like it's just, that's part of being 20 years old,
Yeah.
like 21, 22.
yeah, but it was
It's
just
not,
how
you don't want those moments to happen, but
No.
like that could easily be anyone too. I mean, how many times me and my buddy Corey got in fights at bars and like everything worked out.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just
Like, you know, we all
you
like,
run back to your
we all
apartment, they don't follow
scattered
you.
and
Yeah,
nothing
and
happened.
that's the thing. It's like there were many stories where things, you know, that didn't happen.
yeah.
But it's, you know, one time you're in the wrong place, wrong time.
And it could be way worse too.
It could. So, you know, going through legal battles, going through court, all that stuff. The coaches are pissed, you know, I make everything look bad, you know. So eventually I'm suspended, but I'm still going to school, you know. This is in March. I ended up getting back in the team during the summer. Everything's good. And right around, but, you know, I'm committed. I'm on the team. I really wanted to get back in the team. When wrestling was gone from my life, I'm like, all right, yeah.
You felt like you're missing something, right?
Definitely need something back. So the thing is, though, is that college, man, if you let it and you're in the wrong state of mind, it's just a cesspool. And it will just bring you down to a low frequency of thinking and being and acting. And that's the problem
for, like,
with it.
partying and drinking.
If you don't have goals, if you're not trying to be the guy trying to be, and I wasn't, to being honest, I was like, I just want to get my degree and get out of here.
That's. I heard Thomas Sowell say that recently. Like, so many people go to college and they don't want to learn. And the guy who was like talking to him was like, "What are you talking about?
Just
Of course
a party,
they go to
right?
college." And he's like, "Where else can you go to be around?"
And
you
I'm
know?
so naive at 18, like I didn't even know like what U of I was. I didn't know. You know, my coach is like, "You're going to college, you're going to wrestle." I'm like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Cool. You know, so
Interesting.
getting back to that, I get back in the team, do a suspension. You know, I wasn't wrestling, I wasn't doing anything. I was just going to class, you know, minding my business, and
then a fucking snowball.
Jesus. So over the summer, that was 2013, I think. Over the summer, I ended up getting back on the team. It's all good. I'm competing, scrapping, and then end up, I was going through a lot of stuff personally in my personal life. Like a family member was going through some stuff and just distracting myself with not the right stuff. So I end up failing a drug test, right? And that was it. That was the last straw. So get kicked off the team again. And that's kind of like what led me to MMA. Like this is right before that story I told you, right? So 2014. And I'm at home. I'm not wrestling anymore. Kicked off the team. My brother had just passed away during this time. That's kind of like why as I was home, I was like, I need something right now. And it was just all the perfect storm with like, that's a big reason why I took my first fight too. I was home. I just got done, kicked off. My brother just passed away.
Needed distraction.
Just needed something. And it just kind of all, that's the thing. It's like the way
like an outlet.
MMA found me, I was like, I need to do this. It's like, how, like I'm in a cage right now. This is crazy. I didn't even plan on doing this,
And it's very, it brings you into a present state very easily.
Immediately.
And that's the thing. It's like, I was a very like outgoing, but that experience changed me, made me more reserved, made me more like, you guys kind of know, like I'm a very private person, very, really reserved and laid back unless you get to know me, obviously, right? But it was just a distraction I needed. And like in that dark moment, I'm like, wow, like this is like grappling is what is, we're all kind of coping to a degree in life, right? Mm-hmm. Find your vice. And when I didn't have that, it just led me to other things, not saying that I couldn't have been disciplined with other things, but being in that environment, being in that time with everything I was going through and just the weakness of mind I had at that time, I just succumbed to the bullshit,
It's the easy stuff
So grappling's kind of always brought me back to a centered place. It's always kept me on a goal, and that's the thing right now. It's just you're always chasing that next goal, making yourself better mentally, physically, emotionally, and not succumbing to negative emotions or thoughts. So like it was just a dark time in my life. And then
you're certainly not alone with that. Like there's so many. I mean, I think for martial arts, let's just say martial arts, but grappling, jiu-jitsu. But this is one of the greatest assets that we can ever try to spell out for someone when it comes to why train. Someone's like, why do you spend Sundays fucking like sweating around and why do you spend every day doing this?
I used to tell people all the time that especially when I worked and I had like a lot more like stress in my life that actually like bugged me. The 10 minutes where I was like walking to my car and then like sitting in my car after training, like nothing mattered in my life. Yeah. Nothing could bug me anymore. I was like completely dead and like just like
that's the healthiest.
That was the greatest time of my day.
Coping mechanism. There's a lot of unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Yep.
For sure.
So I think you're onto something that I think a lot of people need to tap into more.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like you can't let that be. You can't just you can't just whatever it is go balls deep into it and just distract yourself mentally from something like through that. I found out what I'm made of. Like
how to deal with problems.
The highest highs and lowest lows, like being kicked off, getting my ass beat for years. Like I'm not a good wrestler. I'm not a good at all this stuff. Right. So. That's kind of what led me back into MMA then, right? What it did for me. So I go back to school in 2015. I'm off the team, right? I'm not wrestling. So what am I doing? I'm boxing. I'm going to this boxing gym, getting ready to graduate and go back into MMA. 2016 comes around. I have my last fight, and then, kind of snowballing into another thing. I lost my dad, and right back to it, like, I didn't have the fire for MMA anymore. Mm-hmm. It was just too hard to kind of, with everything going on, I'm still in the same spot. And that's where I really made the commitment to like, I'm just going to grapple, man. Like wherever this goes, let's see where it goes. But my perspective, losing my brother and my dad with that short span of time, it's like everyone's tweaking about, I need this, I need that, I need retirement. But like, bro, you can die tomorrow. Yep. And I don't think people truly realize that. And that's where like something I've never forgotten is like time to me is different than it was when I was younger. Like every second matters, every like thing, like reading your notes or like asking you guys questions or like every little thing matters. Every little bit of time matters. So it just left me with the perspective of like, I need to go like a fire's in my hair, and people see that and they just don't understand it. Right. No. But you really don't understand it until you've seen that. Like my brother got in hospice in Like that's part of the reason too. I got kicked off the team. Like, I don't give a fuck. My brother's dying right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Nothing's gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I
I'm
want.
That's
like,
just
whatever,
perspective,
bro.
right?
You know?
Perspective on life.
And honestly, I tell people about perspective all the time. Like that is a good perspective for you to have at the time.
Yeah.
Your brother is more important
Yeah.
than anything at the time.
You hear people who are maybe be so depressed about like a girlfriend breaks up with them
Yep.
or like
Yeah.
something like there's just no perspective on life then.
And then
Yep.
you look, listen, everything's tough for some people, right? And just because you went,
Yeah, everyone's got their own-
I didn't go through anything. I was fine. I didn't have fucking my guts taken out and
But you
all
have a
this
different
stuff.
pain. It's a different
Right. So just seeing all that really built my mindset. And like, I was immature. I bloomed later. Like I didn't realize how emotional and immature I was in my mind at that age. But like now going through all that, it's just like I'm at a mountain right now where like if I take myself presently into whatever I'm going into, I know like you're in for a tough time.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm coming hard, and like you're gonna have everything that I've had built up to get me to this point. Like, yeah, I'm a late bloomer. We're vets, but we're also rookies.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
the
yeah.
funny part. It's like people are just barely.
Dude, and every experience you go through, and that's not just on the mat, but life.
Yeah.
It culminates to where we are right now.
And that's the thing. It's like, no matter what's going on in your life, like when you have this goal, when you're about to step on the mat, you can't be thinking about anything else. Like,
Nope.
Girl, home, work,
Whatever
whatever.
dramas, yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like you have to really dial in, and like that's something I didn't have. Like when I was going through this stuff, instead of succumbing and coping and going into other things, I could have been disciplined. I could have. That's why it's like, even motivational stuff. It's like, yeah, motivational stuff's cool, but like I use it when I need it, So
Yeah, you always got some good videos. I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Giuseppe sends us some great stuff on Instagram.
But Giuseppe does the good balance of Giuseppe sends us a video like once a month. It's not like every day,
Yeah.
5 times a
No,
day,
I mean-
because what you're saying is that like motivation fades, like discipline is what you need.
Yeah.
That little video
Yeah.
motivates you for 5 minutes.
It's and like you get that little, everyone, every new year there's someone who's like all excited to do something and then it fades.
Yep.
So what is it that keeps people going?
Or
And you
like-
say discipline, but what is discipline?
Yeah,
like,
what
so
is that?
What does that even mean?
Discipline is you writing down a schedule that you
And just
stick to,
fucking
and then
doing
you
it. Yeah.
it's just like I'm tired today. I would put it like this. I remember seriously the day I made the decision in my head that jiu-jitsu was in the same category as work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not a day that you wake up and go, "Oh, I'm tired. I'm not going to work," or like or like even like,
Well,
"Oh,
some
there's
people
too much
do.
snow. I can't." I can't. Those people do not involve
see
in my
those
life.
people all
And
the
I
time.
just remember the day I decided like every day I go to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I don't care how whatever. I'm the person who goes to jiu-jitsu every day. And then it was funny how jiu-jitsu became my work then afterwards.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
But no, I appreciate you talking so much about, openly about like life stuff like this,
Yeah.
because it is important. People hear this stuff, it makes a big difference in their life. And that idea of making every little moment count. I know most people don't ever get to touch that, in their life until too late.
Yeah.
And then something happened,
not a
and
lot
then
of
they start
moments
realizing, man, have I been wasting my time? Have I not been appreciating every little moment? And I
Yeah,
think you got to touch that relatively
absolutely.
early in your life, and and it's sad, and I'm just, I feel for you, man. I really do.
Appreciate it,
As a
brother.
friend, like I really do. But it's on the positive side of it, because there's nothing we can do about life. Things like that happen.
No, absolutely.
But you've made something really great out of it with just that one mental note that you said of like, I don't care about shit. I'm gonna think about every little moment matters.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
I mean, that's great, man. We've always seen this big like fire and passion out of you, and this is kind of what the goal of the podcast
Yeah.
is. It's
I love
nice.
to
It's
hear
nice to
stuff.
see where that comes from in you, man.
Yeah, no, I think about it every day, and just like the things they went through, and that's why it's like nurses and first responders, bro. The shit they see every day, it's like they don't even like most. Everyone knows a nurse. Everyone
Yeah,
knows
it's my
a-
family.
Yep.
and
My
it's like
mom,
they
my
don't. They
sister.
barely talk about that stuff, man, and
Yeah.
they are going through it, and it's not an easy job, and just to see that, like for the brief moment I saw, it's like Jesus Christ. But yeah, and I think when I was young, the problem was I was just too in the moment, like barely seeing ahead of myself. You know what I'm saying? Just so what did they
just see
say?
that
Young,
snowball
dumb, and
coming.
jump?
Giuseppe run, Giuseppe punch,
Yeah,
Giuseppe
exactly.
jump. Yeah.
But now, like, especially with this stuff, I know where I want to go.
Yeah.
I see 3, 4, 5 years
true
ahead.
goal.
I see next month. I see the next 6 months. So it's easy to stay focused throughout all the little stuff. And if there's little stuff that happens in life, like I'm able to
Navigate.
handle
Yeah.
it better and navigate it, you know? So
when you could see yourself with a goal too, you can see yourself walking down the path,
Yeah.
and as you start to gain ground, it's very fulfilling. You know, like I mean, when I remember our first goal was just like we're just gonna do these
Yeah.
ADCC trials, and then now it's like we've done 3 of
Yeah.
them now, and then we've done all these opens, then we're doing the 4th
Just
one,
grows,
then you know,
yeah, it's a natural progression of what is your goal, and your
Yeah.
goal might evolve. You know, like
Right.
as we go through this, and you might hit that goal and realize like you didn't set it high enough. Right? If you're
Absolutely.
saying like, oh, I just want a place, like
top,
what does that mean?
top 10
Fucking,
top
you know?
10 in another
Yeah,
state.
yeah,
we were
we-
just like,
we already- we
top
already
10
did
was
that.
a little low.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we
Yeah, we
got
gotta take first, I guess.
yeah,
so.
always 10x it, right? Because that's the thing. You're gonna find out in those moments. You're
yeah.
not gonna just feel it. You're gonna
Yep.
find out. You're gonna
And
go
I
through
love
it.
it, man. I love, like, I was feeling a little down. You know, there was the first time I didn't place at an open,
Yeah.
the last one. I felt I was really upset, and like, but that's just my personality. That's how much I care about stuff. I'm okay being upset.
Yeah.
And that's what people are like. Oh, don't be upset. Don't be. I'm okay being. I want to
Yeah.
be upset. Like, let me have my little moments.
I
of
fucked
like,
up. I'm gonna be pissed at myself right
and
now.
I like it, and
Yep.
I'm using it because
Yeah.
now all I'm doing, I'm thinking about it. I'm working on it because the goal is still there. So it's like it's interesting. I don't know if everyone can handle that stuff.
No.
Like the pressure you put on yourself.
Yeah.
But we need to be able to, and I think, and I'm, this is not making anyone feel bad, but I feel like everyone needs to be able to put pressure on themselves. And not let it just crack you when you fail at a goal. So if you shoot you put your goal really high and you fail at it, that shouldn't be something that crushes you. That should be something that motivates you and it continues to push you up. And if it doesn't, then maybe you're in the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You should find a different goal.
Yep. Like,
Right?
and also too, like that's a whole, we'll have to get a therapist in here, but isn't that whole conversation of like, why are you doing that to yourself?
Yeah.
Like the people who have the goal of like, imagine if one of us now was like, I'm going to be a NASCAR driver. It's
Yeah.
like, you're 30. I could barely
It's
make
just
it. I could
wrong.
barely
Yeah.
make it down Route 14, you know,
you
like,
gotta be realistic,
like,
It's the right goals
and
for
then
the right
imagine
person.
me getting real pissed if I never
Yeah.
achieved those things, like just
if
super
you're-
depressed.
But if you
know?
had that goal and you're just like, but you don't want to drive, like on Tuesday, you're like, I don't feel like doing it. Like if you have a goal to win ADCC, but you're like I'm gonna take Tuesday off. Tuesday night, I kind of want to take off.
Joey, these open mats are rough.
Yeah,
Giuseppe
like,
keeps
whatever,
choking
or
me.
whatever
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah.
like that's the problem I have,
Yep.
right? But
And that's what's nice thing about like what you've built and like just all of us connecting. It's like alone you go far, but like together you go farther.
Oh, yeah.
And like just
Yeah.
everyone pushing
even,
the pace.
Even I mean, I would love to have you here more often. I
Yeah.
know, we talk about it. But anytime you're here, instantly when he walks in, I'm just like, all right, we're gonna train a little harder.
Yeah.
I get excited. So like
Yeah.
every time you walk in, I always see you with your towel around your neck. He like kind of peeks his head in.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Well,
it's gonna be a good session.
It's funny how different people bring different perspectives to the room, and you
Yeah.
just said it as if like Giuseppe shows up, it's like everyone's going to train a little bit harder.
Oh yeah,
you just
dude,
bring a good
you
energy to the
motivate me,
room.
man.
You know,
I get so into it when
Yep.
Giuseppe's here. So yeah, I mean, I really appreciate the last, what is it, from April to now?
Yep.
It's almost a year of like really, man.
Feels like it's been 10. It's
yeah,
crazy.
I really do feel that way. I feel
Back
like
to where
we've
we
been
started
training.
this section. How'd you get into functional patterns?
So okay, so I knew I wanted to fight MMA after college. So in my mind, I'm like, I'm not gonna go get a regular job. I got time right now. I'm living in my sister's house. I can save up money. I got some money saved up already from things that have happened. What am I gonna do so I can just train every day?
Mm-hmm.
So I settled on personal training. Right, got my NASM. Was working at MTC, got a job at Title Boxing Club that was right by the MTC and was great. I was training 3 times a day,
Personal training?
Yeah, making like, a couple $100s a week, personal training, doing classes, but it was enough. It was enough to start saving, it was enough to pay for training, get a car, et cetera, et
And
cetera.
yoga was a big part of that?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. So I was just doing, I started doing kettlebell certifications and like all these mace certifications and stuff and just looking for the answer,
Yep.
right? And then yoga came to me while I was at MTC. Alex had hooked up with Tri-Balance and got the fighters a $5 class, so I'm like, yeah, I'll go try this stuff, whatever. I didn't know what yoga was, but I heard of all the benefits. So I went to class. It was a hot yoga class, and it just kicked my ass. The first time you do hot yoga,
Yeah.
right? And you're
Hooked.
a wrestler. I'm like, stretching, come on.
Oh, dude, I was
Yeah.
hooked, man. 19 years old,
Yeah.
and I did it every day.
I was hooked too, man, and just started doing it all the time, and really wanted to pursue it. So got my teaching certification. Was still doing everything. Still training MMA
Did you do it through Tri-Balance?
through Tri-Balance. Yeah. So I did my 200-hour. Went through the whole thing, and then I was still teaching a title. So I would end the title classes with yoga. right? So ironically, I was doing a class one day, and who was in my class? Miwa, right? So Miwa.
And did she already? Was this already open or not yet? So you're
not
building
yet. She
with
was just
Corey
going to,
and-
she was still going to title. You know, she likes to box. She likes to go to other places. She was going to title. I didn't know, you know, she just being friendly to everyone. But she was working with the trainer from MTC, and he had moved away. So after, you know, I cooled everyone down with yoga, we kind of connected. She kind of approached me about training, and had mentioned how she's opening up a gym. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, you know. So I'm like, when's this gym going to be
This
open?
mega
Because I
gym.
need a job. Yeah.
So I'm thinking like a gym,
Yeah,
and then I come
This place
here,
is
and I'm like,
massive.
and this
the
was,
first time I saw this place, I was like, "This is."
You used to tell me about this
insane.
place all the time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. So it was crazy because it was just everything under one roof. Like, you remember, this room used to be the turf
This was
room.
the functional
Yeah.
space. It was all, you know, where my gym is. For anyone who knows it, this was all just turf
Yeah.
and like a giant. I don't know if they had it right away, but they had their big
Yep,
Forge
the TRX
TRX
thing,
thing.
yeah.
You know, a big like jungle gym basically.
Yeah, the rows and whatnot. Yeah, so
I mean, it was a great functional space.
huge, yeah.
And then they had the weight room, and then they had the yoga room, they
Yep.
had the massage room. It's just a huge building.
yeah.
It's
So
complex.
that was right in 2017. So I was still doing my thing, training MMA, but 2016, that's when everything was done, and kind of, and alongside with things going on with my dad, having to do another funeral and all that, and then that was the time I got that big cut, and I was like, I don't want to fight anymore, man. What am I doing? But got the job here, long story short, and started teaching yoga, started doing functional classes and whatnot. And I was here for about a year, and then
I
kind
think
of,
that's when I came in. I
yeah,
was
you
1
were
year-
just here
Yeah.
it's
And-
crazy,
yeah.
man.
Okay.
We,
Just
like,
missed
tagged
each other.
in.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
I remember going in and like someone, I don't remember who it was, but someone here, one of the students, I don't know if he's still here or not, but he's like, Giuseppe, right? Like, I was like, I'm not too sure. It's like, you guys are like the same person. Like, he does
Basically.
MMA.
That's
He does
cool.
MMA. I was like, does he do MMA? I don't know. But yeah, it was like, we just went in and
Yeah.
out. So I never really got to interact with you much while you were here.
Yeah, and that's a big regret of mine. Just kind of, again, not having any experience in work and just burning bridges, and things happen, and I just wanted to go do my own thing. So,
Yeah.
this guy at Compritos was in a mall, and this guy Ryan I had met. He was also an On It certified trainer. So, I'm teaching yoga here for a year, loving it, doing my thing, and I see this guy right upstairs from Comprito. He's got a gym, he's got Macy's, he's got clubs. I'm like, no one else is doing that. Who is this guy? So kind of connected with him, and was able to get myself in that space. So started paying rent, got a bunch of equipment of my own, and ever since then, that was kind of like the catalyst to me having my own spot. And the thing about the mall is that it was dying. So
Okay.
Yeah.
empty. So we had 5,000 square feet, and we were paying $500 a month for it. So this is from 2017 to last year. I got my new spot in Carpentersville, right? So I just got out of there last year.
Okay.
Wow.
So, I was there for almost 5 years.
Killing
Just- Yeah, like paying low rent.
That's
you know,
awesome.
Having people rent out the gym.
And you're mostly just private lessons, right?
Yeah.
You didn't have like class structures to it.
A little
Like
bit.
any group
Yeah, a
sessions?
little group sessions here and there, but yeah, it was mostly privates. And that's where, after I got done with yoga, I kind of, saw functional patterns and, kind of really delved into that. What interested me about that was that there was actually something behind, like,
Yeah. A logic.
run, walk, and throw. That's what humans do. That's what we evolved to do. So let's focus on this. So
Yeah.
I started examining my gait cycle. I started examining my posture. I started examining my tibias, my fibias. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I am a mess. I am a mess. Like, when I run, my hip flexion is terrible. My hip extension is terrible.
That was one of the first things I noticed when you put up a video of that, and I didn't even have to read the caption or anything, and I just saw the video you showing how
lower back.
how you want to stand almost taller to run faster so that
Yeah.
your stride is longer. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
that was, I was like, oh, I should look into that. Yeah.
So essentially what happens is that we start to pick a path of movement through our body, and most people have better paths than others. Some people anchor through certain parts of their body, right? And for me, I was just anchored at I was just so compressed and like,
Well, I mean, it's a lifelong. If you've been wrestling,
yeah, but I didn't realize how bad
Yeah.
it was. Like, my lumbar so far shifted forward. I'm in a nasty kyphosis. So like, just learning all these terms and kind of unraveling, like, I like to think about it as my body was like a pop can, right? And what this style of training helped me do is kind of unravel. You know, when you put air in a pop can, right, and it kind of fills back out. That's kind of what I saw. And once I saw the differences, it's just I got deep in it, man, and I learned more about the body and been helping people out with it, helping people who work at UPS and people who have back problems and people who have terrible shoulder pain. Just implementing some of these principles helped a lot out. But like, you know, the background with the yoga and everything I have kind of really gave me the foundation to be able to do that, right?
Well, that's what's so cool. You know, that's why I started my school as real movement and martial arts, was that I got hooked in that like you. At like 19 years old, I went to yoga, hooked, loved it. And like I just became obsessed, and then I went through this journey of like trying to learn. Like I did every training I could. I traveled all over, trained with all these great people, and then it was like not enough. Then I was like, okay, well, like why? From a movement perspective, why? Like, you know, why is this good? Like, yoga is very just a thing. You know, we talk about like the asana practice of yoga. It's just like, here's the patterns.
Do these movements.
Depends on who you learn from and how you're learning. But in general, there's not much why or how, or there's a lot of how to do it, but there's not a lot of like, you know, rationale or logic behind it.
And that's the thing, is that you get a lot of shitty teachers who are just repeating the cues that they learn. Shoulders up and back, hip bones down.
And no idea why.
Right.
Like, why would you raise your arms and pull your shoulders down?
That's
things like that. Like
I've always been very curious about why. Why am I doing this? And that's kind of what leads. It's like movement is very complicated, right? And it's the same thing with jiu-jitsu. It's like, it's not just about the technique. And there aren't
absolutes in the same way that people think.
Right.
Like, so like if someone with a personal trainer, you see a lot of personal trainers are just so locked in their ways because they learned it from someone, and they don't ever explore anything. So it's like movement has a lot of opportunity. You can take a lot of what ifs and like, well, what if we try this? What if we do this? I'm fascinated.
I ask you all the time when you're doing, you know, the yoga flows at 6 a.m. I mean, I try not to interrupt, but like certain things, I'll not know why he said a certain thing, and I just ask you, you know, why'd you do it like this? Why'd you like the most recent one was you were doing like the forward folds, and you were just like bending your knees, and I was just like, I thought we were doing to like stretch our hamstrings. You're like, no, it's just we're stretching something else. Oh, okay, you know,
it's more about decompressing your spine.
Yeah, you do a great job with, like, I remember with the leg locks. You know, you were doing a lot of tibia rotation, external rotation.
And that's what's so fun. Like, so as I studied more in the body, jiu-jitsu is always my love. It's my passion, like grappling. But like the more I learned anatomy, the more I learned about physiology and just movement, it helped everything. It made everything better.
Should we? I think we should pull Jay in on this conversation.
Hi, Jay. Come on in.
I think this is all your kind of stuff, Jay. I think
that's why me and Jay connected so much too. Because Jay's a big.
Sit next to Joe. Yeah, we need you. This is.
Come on, Jay.
So I mean, I would just with Jay being so ancient. I mean, like, was it?
Why don't you limp your ass over here?
Was it functional patterns for you? Did you look into that type of stuff later? Or like, how did you get into all this type of stuff? You know,
mine started.
I remember you were telling us all recovering for yourself.
Right. Yeah, and it was more for my son.
Okay,
I wanted to make sure that he was moving properly.
Yeah,
because after I injured myself, I went into like that whole like, this is my identity. This is who I am. I'm an athlete. I'm a ball player. I got hurt, and I'm like, I went down a deep path or a dangerous path. So I'm like, I don't want that for my son.
Yeah.
I want to make sure the kids that I'm coaching, they don't have that same issue. How do I protect them and still getting the most out of them? And throwing, as any overhead athlete throwing, it's very dangerous, right? You can hurt yourself in a lot of different ways.
The repetitiveness of it.
There's a lot of repetitiveness, and a lot of baseball players, they pick one side and they're just staying on that side the whole time. So how do you keep yourself healthy throughout your lifestyle while still being able to?
Is that a big thing? So I remember David Akers was one of the really good kickers in the NFL, and he had like 10, 12 years into his career, he just started having all these back injuries, and they thought he wasn't going to be able to play. And then he had some coach who just came to him and was like, you should do some kicks on your other leg as well. And it immediately like fixed his back. Yeah. And so like, is that a thing for baseball? If pitchers have a bad shoulder, do they pitch on their other arm? And
I try to make sure that like a lot of my athletes they were being able to swing a bat both ways.
Okay.
I wasn't too huge on like, you have to learn how to throw with your left hand, but I always try to encourage that. I would be like a person of myself, because I'm ambidextrous too, or maybe I'm stubborn and I just train. And I'm very
try both.
Yeah, I just do both. So I was always trying to make sure that all of my athletes would have a good understanding of how their body is moving. Where's that movement coming from? And I love the way that you explain that, like, where's your anchors at?
Yeah.
Like, where's that movement coming from, and how are you sequencing it?
Yeah.
Is your sequence off a little bit? Like, even though the end result
the
might
patterning.
look what you want it to look like, oh, I threw the ball and I rotated, everything's perfect, but you started that movement with your arm, and then everything kind of moves.
You guys call me and all that stuff when we're lifting,
Backwards,
right?
yeah.
I mean, so I'm
Kyle's
the
got
example of the
worst
opposite.
movement.
Oh yeah, I just like it's
Kyle's a mess when I watch him.
deadlift, pick the leg up. All right.
Yeah.
Kyle's
Okay.
body
Just grab that and just put that
But
there.
you're strong, and it's not about who's strong. I mean, you look at people with the worst. I mean, those are the best athletes. Sometimes are the
Yeah.
people who are just so good at
Getting it done.
compensating for their shitty body. Those are the greatest athletes.
Yeah, it's
and then
weird-
you
it's
fix them,
weird
and
with
they're
some
like,
people.
this doesn't feel right. But are you in pain? Oh, you actually feel a little better, don't you? Yeah, it's kind of
there's
interesting.
ceiling
Because
raises
you
too.
make people
Yeah.
move differently, like if you fix them like that. Because, like we were talking about, we all have a preferred way of moving and propelling ourselves through space. And some people, they might not extend their left hip, or like for me, for example, like I don't use my quads, so everything was knee extension and like hyper ankle extension.
Which is kind of rare. That's usually the opposite.
Yeah, it's
most
kinda-
people are quad dominant.
Right.
Like,
And so just learning how
What's
to
that?
Kimmy used the personal trainers. You'd always say that.
Yeah.
Quad dominant.
Yeah.
Everyone's quad dominant.
learning how to like integrate my hips
Kimmy,
and
shout out Kimmy if you're listening.
and
Probably
get my
not.
spine involved in certain moves. It really changes stuff up.
Yeah,
Right.
but it's super cool to me that the idea that as like a as a student of movement, a student of like your own body, you get to study this stuff, and then you instantly get to apply it for someone else. So like this is one of the joys of being like a personal trainer or
Yeah.
whatever you'd like to call it. Someone who gets to help people is like all this knowledge, like that, and that was my goal. Like I loved teaching, and I loved helping people. Like you said, you work with like UPS drivers and people, like people who need that help.
Yeah.
I love that, but I'm also selfish. I've learned so much over the
Absolutely.
last 8 years. I've learned so much that has helped me. Like I was saying that to you today, like I got a little bit of an elbow thing going on, and it's one of these times like usually I can almost like always pinpoint something and make it better, and then like that's only because I've spent the last like 8 years trying to study stuff. And there's people who have no knowledge of their body and who are just in daily achy pain, and they have nowhere to go and they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of like jiu-jitsu, right? You can study all you want. You can do whatever. You can have the best coach, but like the experience of being in the field and working with people and seeing different
like
bodies.
going to a tournament is like that's you going to the field. Like
Yeah,
you gotta
and
actually go learn
for sure.
learn on the
because
job
it's
a little
always,
bit.
it's always different in your mind, right?
Yeah.
It's never as bad as you think, and you're never as whatever. I mean, you're never gonna feel as good or as slick as you think you're gonna feel that day. But your best varies from time to time, and just being out there and going back to what we said, taking out all distractions, letting it fly. I mean, you guys said, we got to have fun with this too.
Yeah.
It's not that serious, right?
No,
It's
yeah.
serious, but it's not that
It's,
serious.
I'm very serious, but yeah, I love saying that. I'm sincerely like serious about this stuff. But I have the most fun. No one's having more
Yeah.
fun than me.
Yeah,
even,
well,
when I'm in a like
Yeah.
pissed off mood. I
Joey's
generally-
almost got to yell at me all the time. Like, stop smiling out there. Like, to be a little serious.
No
yeah.
one has more fun than me, but
Yeah.
like I take this stuff very serious.
Yep.
And same with movement. Like I really do. Like
Absolutely.
I don't want to hurt someone. Like that was a big part of my like yoga. When I first started, I had a very fear-based approach to it, where I was very scared. I did not want to hurt someone, so everything was very like with that in mind. And then I got into functional range conditioning, which is FRC. Like that idea is much more about making resilience and understanding resilience. It's less fear-based. It's more about like how can we help people achieve goals, and like it's more of an athletic push versus like yoga was like a lot of people like you can't put your knee here, you'll get hurt, you'll hurt someone. It's like that's that kind of stuff sours me on like movement. I don't think people I think people adopt that idea too much.
Yeah, for
and they
sure.
start now ingraining in their head like a fear, like they move like they're terrified of everything.
right.
That's my personal take on movement.
Yeah, and not in a, if he listens, not in a calling him out way, but
Yeah.
like David, right? Like his knees,
Which David?
Big David.
Yes, yeah.
He's so fearful because he's had like multiple
He's had
surgeries on his
surgeries and
knees.
he's-
There's like things he can do, but that he won't even allow himself.
Yeah, and he
it's-
knows it too.
But
It's
then now
psychological.
that's gotten it's made it
We broke
worse
through
and
the
worse.
first-
You know
yeah.
that it's
You start
that's,
to believe it,
yeah,
right?
and then it's like the little movement that you thought you can do now becomes a little bit bigger of a movement, a little bigger movement
Yeah.
you think you can't do.
Yeah, so it's a big goal for the school in general. Long term, massive part of the school. You know, martial arts is obviously the art, what we enjoy pursuing, but movement it's the science part of it. We need it. We need to be able to do it. Otherwise, like longevity wise, how the hell are we going to keep doing this, Giuseppe? We're beating the shit out of each other every day. How are we going to keep this going?
Talking about movements though, and just the way you guys were talking about learning, like you would think solo movements with your body, you would be able to learn all of them like by yourself. Right, but like as someone who I don't know, major or minor, whatever in language, right? I remember just hearing someone explain like if you had a French book and you tried to teach yourself French, you could literally spend your entire life and you would never learn it. And then like even more, the analogy was like become more crystal to me. Like imagine too, maybe if you even did though too, you wouldn't speak it the same. It would be very different in your head until you actually go to France and experience or have a French teacher teach it to you.
You're saying with movement would be similar?
Yeah, I mean, I think
without someone guiding it.
Yeah, I think like I would never learn to do like a real backflip or some of these just other functional patterns that you guys are talking about. If you told me, you know, Kyle, go learn to do a cartwheel, my cartwheel is going to look very crappy and you're going to go like, yeah, you should be doing this with your wrist and blah, blah, blah. I would never figure it out by myself.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And I think
I wouldn't say for sure.
I mean,
you'd be surprised.
Man. Yeah. You can learn a lot of stuff.
I mean, I'm just saying like in terms of functionality, like what is function?
Some people can decipher a French scroll, but like that ain't most of us. Most of us need a teacher and some backup. And you're going to learn. And even if you're the person who could, it's better to have an assistant to teach you and help you go faster.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's you know, we evolved to nonverbal communication, and there's little things, nuances you pick on from a language or even being on the mat with somebody where like they can put you right in the good. You could put someone in a heel hook and have them with good mechanics right away, or a rear naked choke or whatever. But if they're watching a DVD and they got no tension on their hooks and they're flexed, it's gonna take you a long time to figure that out.
As Hicks and Gracie calls like the invisible jiu-jitsu. That's the invisible stuff.
I mean, you've taught me a lot of that. I mean, everyone always tells me like I'm a leg lock guy, but you've taught me a lot of leg lock stuff that I didn't like, just like curling my legs in certain positions.
Motion.
Yeah, I mean, just a lot of that stuff has really changed my game. You know.
Yeah. And that's what it is. It's just the little things matter. Going back to it, right?
Yep.
All the little things. It's just having.
So
a
whether
limb
it's
extended,
movement, whether it's jiu-jitsu, martial arts, it's like this is what I'm fascinated. It'll never end, man. You'll always. Yeah, I know for jiu-jitsu, we will always have something to learn and practice and play. And then from a movement perspective, as a coach for yourself, and then for yourself, your own body. And Jay, same thing. I know you like that. Like, there's always every day Jay's like playing with something different.
You guys are making me jealous because yeah. I mean, I do.
All right, easy post boy. What are you, mailman?
No, I'm saying that's what I am the mailman. I'm the stiff mailman compared to you guys. Yeah, I got to practice my movements.
No, but it's been awesome over the last. I mean, since the new year, right?
Yep.
When did we start like our lifting program and stuff?
Sunday, December, right? We really just
we
started
a little earlier than the new year, but Kyle's getting into like training, and I really want you to, I want us this year. We just got to push it to the next level, physically.
No, 100%. It just makes a big difference. It's the only weapon you're allowed to bring onto the mat. So it should be sharp. Yeah,
right.
I bring knives on sometimes. Every once in a while, I slip a knife in.
Bring a knife. Oh yeah, you want to leg lock me?
Yeah.
That was a triangle.
Yeah, that was Kenny's joke the other day.
Yeah.
We were like talking about heel hooks and heel hook defense last week. It's just like, what about the gun?
What about the gun?
Do I bring the gun or no? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know what is kind of funny is did you guys see that video going around to the YouTuber getting jumped by the guy and then he heel hooks him in the street?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny to think like that video, and then there's the one of the guys getting in the fight in like the basketball court too.
Yeah.
And like honestly, a lot of the real jiu-jitsu fights I've seen in Brazil, everyone always omoplatas everybody. They always like get in a fight and it's like these moves that people go like, you want to use them in a street fight. They become the real street fight.
The guy goes from a triangle to backside 50-50.
Yeah, it's like,
holding
whoa.
it in You're like, what the?
Yep.
Shit works.
Yep.
We can't deny it. All right. Well, I think we should finish up with a little bit of Long Beach recap.
Let's do it.
So, we were all there. Jay as well. All of us here were there. Our biggest group ever.
Yep.
When it
That
comes
was
to
so
an
much
open.
fun.
So much
for
fun.
a travel. Yep.
It's a blast.
And this is the big goal, right? If we're gonna do, we were talking about like a comp team, like a travel team. I tell you, we got a sponsor,
Who's that?
Kombucha.
Ooh.
Kombucha. They're like
Okay.
kombucha. Like, we're just getting some stuff from
Hey,
them.
I love it.
But like, I want to really, I'm planning on growing this idea of a competition team where we have sponsors, we have, a uniformed idea where we can actually hopefully raise money to help people with the travel.
Yeah, that'd be
Because
cool.
there's a lot of people who that's a big obstacle.
Absolutely.
Because it is expensive to go travel as much as we're doing. We're very lucky we planned our life this way.
Yeah.
And we are lucky to make it that way. But I think some people, they have real responsibilities, they have real life. It's tough for them to just go
family,
travel.
kids,
Yeah,
absolutely.
So hopefully, that's one of my big goals, and I want to keep stating that so I can remind myself, is to try to grow this idea of a travel team or a comp team.
So we can announce it to you guys out there too. You guys are the donators out
Yeah,
there. So.
and the podcast is the big goal. Like the starting block of this is as we grow the podcast and we can try to monetize and make some money off of it.
Better hop on now.
Yes, it'll be 100% towards the comp team. It'll help us travel. But imagine if we had some really good sponsors and it was just even if we made a couple $100 and we just lower everyone's price. So we get a group of 10 people who are going out. We say, hey, well, the price now for your ticket, your plane, or we pay for the admission. If it's $125, we pay for everyone to do that, whatever.
Any little bit helps.
Anything helps, right? Yeah. So that's, just saying that goal out loud. So this trip was our biggest group, and it was really cool. To go to California, there was, I think 90, to be precise, 98 teams. 98 different teams, and we took 8th.
Yeah, that's amazing.
As a group.
That's huge.
What's up, you other 90 teams?
Yeah, and it's great. I always like the idea. For some reason in my head, I just feel like California is the old guard of jiu-jitsu. It's that was the OG.
Yep.
That's little Brazil. All the Brazilians went to California.
Yep.
So it's been growing a lot, over the last 20 years. So to go to California from the Midwest and go, fuck some stuff up and get 8th place, it just feels good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and being able, I wasn't registered under you guys,
but you are you're a part of and no matter what, and I don't care about any of that stuff. Same with Kyle, we talked about it, but no matter what, dude, it's a team. So if we put those points on there in our head,
we all could have scored more points.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Who knows where we would have been at?
Oh yeah, dude, we were right there. So
honestly, none of us here scored for the team.
And that's what's
Wow.
cool.
Which is crazy, right?
Yeah, you and I took 4th.
Yeah.
If we both could have done our job, we'd get that 1 point.
Yep.
So that's 2 points. Jay definitely would have had first place if he had a division.
Yep.
He got bumped with the young kids.
Got the young
if you
bucks.
had a division, if you had a healthy rib,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of what ifs.
It's just fun to think about, man. And none of that stuff really matters. At the end of the day, if we would have took 98th, I'd still have been super I would have loved the experience. But I do have those goals for us. I think anytime we go, we should be trying to take the team to
We gotta be on the board.
top 10. Yeah, without a doubt. So any recaps? Let's think real quick. We'll talk with Jay.
Well, we just go down to the day. I mean, I was the
how do we
first one.
start?
I was
You
the
were
first one to
first?
go.
All right.
Yeah, so I was the first one to go. So it made everyone get up early. We all drove out
Made us
there.
get
Yeah.
there
I want to be
super
there
early.
5 hours early. All right, Kyle.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm
No,
not
we
going
didn't get
till
there.
9.
That's how I am.
Yeah.
I'm not going till 9 p.m.
So I mean, I did my first match. Pulled guard in the guy was something we were talking about. Maybe starting to
Wait,
wrestle.
we also should mention you went shirtless.
Went shirtless.
First time ever in your life.
Yeah.
Look good.
And
Yeah.
you look good.
That was the highlight of the weekend for me. Is I looked jacked out there. So yeah, I mean, just not a terrible match. I got my guard pass
late
halfway through points.
Tough match.
Big dude. But honestly,
I thought you looked good. You were calm. You looked good playing guard. Yeah, obviously, you're always good playing guard. You have a hard guard to pass.
Yep.
But like we said, it's that's no matter what will always be you're on the negative.
Yes, you're losing the whole time.
You're losing the match no matter what.
Yep.
Be
Be winning the whole match. Yeah. So I mean, that's just that's I was kind of texting you guys about it and stuff too. It's just that's gonna be it. If it's even not my style, I'm just going to commit to the better style to play, and if as long as it takes, that's
take time to
that's
develop.
the path we'll go.
Your hand fighting feels a lot better. I've
Awesome.
noticed it, especially in the last week. I'm like, wow,
Cool.
I'm
Just
trying
with
to
that
pull on
mental-
your head. I'm trying
just
to
you
pull you
saying
down.
you're going to go do
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
You feel like a lot different.
Cool.
And you had one moment in that match where you could have.
Yeah.
You remember it? Did you? I don't know. If you
Yeah,
got
so
to
I
watch
rewatched it and rewatching it with you. I wouldn't have came. We would have both stood. I definitely wouldn't have came on top.
But that's
Yeah,
your
we would
goal.
have stood. Yeah,
That was your one opportunity. Everything else would have been a risky gambit to try to just get up. That was your one time where you guys broke and you just went.
Yep.
And you would have probably went up, and you could have
Wrestled
that
back
was your
through.
last chance.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that was the moment. If you would have done it,
Yep.
it was your only chance.
Yeah.
Because the match is going a certain way.
Yep.
You know.
And that guy was really slippery. Like,
Yeah.
if he
Was he greasing, Kyle?
He was greasing.
You might as well say it was.
I mean, he was honestly, he was just being smart. He was being smart, like we said. I mean, he was
Moving around.
just side to side
Yeah.
the whole time. And if
He
you
did good.
rewatch it, I mean, like any time I would try to enter and say, just back out. And then you go side to side again. It's just like, it's smart grappling.
Because with you, it's like once you think going your half guard's good, but you really do a good job of like getting your grip, slowing it down, and now you're entering.
Yeah, I can
right?
tangle someone up. Yeah, so
you
he just
had
wasn't
that-
playing
you
Which
that.
had
is the lesson that
nasty
I want to
energy.
learn is how he was just keeping just outside.
Yep.
Boom, and making it really hard for you to do shit.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like after those 3 minutes, you're more sweaty. It's
Yep.
it's harder to get it going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see you play like more koichis, more like ankle picks from a seated guard with
Yep.
a guy like that, instead of like trying to get him to come in.
Yeah.
Right?
More
And
more
we
seated?
talked about that, like that far side K and
Yes.
stuff.
Yep.
And just, a little bit more seated.
Okay.
Like when someone's like standing up and they don't want to, they're just going side to side. You can catch them.
Yeah,
with your,
double
I know it
koichis,
sounds
off balances.
crazy, but like once you get good at those koichis, it's good too because you can get people a high step out.
Yep.
And grab an ankle and pull them
Yeah.
right in.
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
That's how I like to play that way.
and it's
You're
fu-
good at like sitting on the half.
And it's funny because
I'm
it's
not-
all
I
stuff
struggle.
that I've been like developing, I would probably say, over like the last 6 to 8 months in training, but like not when I go to a tournament, I just go right back to
yeah.
pull guard and go right back to my game.
Or
So
it's like you said, instead of you trying to like your wrestling's getting better, but like your wrestling up like if you focus
That
on
could be
that,
the one. That could be the ticket.
one.
Yeah.
You learn how to ankle pick from your knees, learn
Yep.
how to pull them in, learn how to koichi both sides, learn how to get them overstepping with the koichi when they're legs off the
Remember,
ground.
before you know it, you're back to actually where you wanted to be.
Yep.
Right?
So we got a game plan, and I'm training for it. So that's
And
that's good.
yeah.
we should mention
I
stomach.
puked again.
So
I
he
puked again.
The
Yeah.
kid
God
puked.
damn.
He even took some like heavy drugs.
Yeah, but I took him too late. It definitely helped, but I took him too late. And yeah, I mean, like so if it was on about it, like the last 2 times, I just dealt with it and kept competing. If I was very honest about it, this time I was a little more like mentally weak, and I just remember like after like puking a little bit in my head, I was
I was
like,
heartbroken for you. I just felt like very sad. That's all I felt. I was like, "Fuck, man."
yeah,
Like,
I was disappointed in myself, but it was also just like in my head, I was just like, I can't puke for 8 hours again. I was like, I can't do
that's
it
the
again.
You've
It's
been
like-
traumatized.
Yeah, it was just like, and like
You're like that dog. That
yeah,
just, has been
just for a
sick once.
moment. Yeah, just for a moment. I couldn't deal with it anymore. So, but on to the next one. Yep, it won't
It
happen
is
again.
what it is, buddy.
Yep. Well, so now, I mean, saying about trying to wrestle up, we'll be bouncing around people here, but a great example of it was Adrian. Adrian's got really good wrestling, but like cut a lot of weight, was really tired.
Well, honestly, Adrian doesn't have, and this is not saying that, but he's never wrestled.
Okay.
He doesn't know how to wrestle.
So he's-
his only experience with wrestling is the 4 weeks that I've.
So he's got tough wrestling. He's,
he's
just a
just
tough
tough
kid,
kid.
scrappy
Yeah.
bat.
But
But
he is no,
He's
he's
good.
never
I like
wrestled
his
in his
style,
life,
man.
dude.
but he was doing that
Think
good
about
pulling
that, though.
guard
He's
and
never
then
wrestled
wrestling up.
once in his life. Never had a wrestling practice.
So
And he takes people down
Yep.
pretty well.
So I think I almost coached like every single one of his matches, right? Except for like I think I missed the one when he lost. I think you were coaching him,
yeah.
right? And I remember like every match he'd be dominating, and then he would start trying to like guillotine the guy from top half guard. And you'd be like, Adrian, stop doing that and pass his guard. Like you're gonna. But he was just tired, and so then I walk over and he's walking off the mat losing, and Giuseppe's going like, you had an opportunity to get points there, but you just tried to tap him. You just had like, well, yeah. So I was like, exact same
That's
theme.
Adrian.
Adrian's
Adrian's mindset is he's just like
kill.
Yeah, he gets so he's a hunter.
for sure.
He just gets so fixated on like trying to squeeze someone.
Yep.
He's super tough,
He
man.
is,
Adrian's
man. He's
got
impressive.
a future.
He was pulling guard coming up.
Yeah, he's
K-guard,
well-rounded.
He's a whirlwind. It was
Yep.
fun to watch him.
For a 20-year-old kid, he's got such a good, well-rounded approach to jiu-jitsu because sometimes
Yeah,
you get
very
someone who is a
well-rounded.
wrestler who comes in who wants to wrestle,
He
wants
does
to wrestle,
everything.
doesn't want to play guard. He just has learned everything.
Yep.
So he's got a bright future. He ended up taking third.
Taking third. Yep.
Very
and
impressive.
Third
in a big division.
big division and disappointed in himself too. Thought he could have
Oh,
got
he was
first.
heart- he was
Definitely could have.
heartbroken. Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, that was
that's a
really
very
good.
winnable
So
match.
he's begging me not to get his blue belt. He's like, please don't give me. I need it one more. I want to win. I want to win ADCC.
He can't go
gold
out in the
so bad.
bronze.
He's like, I want it so bad. I was like, yeah, it'll be fine. So he's going to Vegas.
That was in the beginner division.
yeah. Yeah, he's still wiped. I mean, he's only been training just over a year.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, yeah, all you guys, man.
Yeah.
You guys.
Him and I started.
And it's
around
just
Same
the
time,
kudos,
right?
kudos to what you guys are doing here.
It's cool to see, man. I think that's the big goal. Just like we were talking about with like movement, whatever, anything we're teaching. It's like every next generation should be fucking 10 times better than where we are.
They'll be nipping on our heels. soon.
Yep.
Yeah, I want that so
Yeah.
bad. I want it. And I think what took me 18 now 19 years of training, I can teach someone in like 4 years.
Absolutely.
I
Going
can
back to
probably-
what we were talking about with the language stuff, right?
Yeah. I'm going to translate it. My goal is to be a better translator.
Yep.
How quick can I give you this information in a package that allows you to be
Fluid.
and then allows you to develop it your own way and not
Yeah.
dogmatic. I'm not going to be the old school guy who's like, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm all about here's why we're doing it. Figure it out.
Yeah, because it
What can
changes
you add
moment to
to it?
moment, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you said.
And you're a totally different grappler than me. Kyle's totally. We're all
Yep.
different people, but the principles are there. We're learning a lot. Adrian's just a good testament to that.
Yeah. So we got Adrian. So let's go Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, who
Yep.
was going to be on the podcast, got a little sick. He
Yeah,
was gonna
Jeremiah
come on
got sick.
earlier. week.
Jeremiah got his feet beat up a little bit too.
Probably hurt. Yeah,
his foot's probably
So
hurting.
What's funny about Jeremiah is you met him, right? So Jeremiah was a good wrestler in high school. Really good. I think he was state place.
Something like that, yeah.
He's just really good wrestler, super tough. And he did the Chicago Open
With-
for ADCC with almost no training.
He went the Kenny route.
Yeah, he did like couple
Yeah.
advanced classes, and then just like it's like yeah, let's do it. And almost
I think he got
took-
fourth.
I think he took fourth.
Yeah.
So he
Oh, nice.
just lost third place match, but he was so beat up. Both his legs were racked, like his knee, he popped his knee.
He got knee barred and heel
Got knee
hooked,
barred,
and then
heel
the
hooked.
tops
in the
of his
beginner
feet.
division?
In the beginner division.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heel
yeah.
hook and
Oh,
knee
dude,
barred.
he was
And the
getting
tops of his
destroyed.
feet were just ripped off.
Yeah,
All the
his
skin was gone.
We
Yeah.
didn't see him for at least 2 months after.
What constitutes beginner then?
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to
that's-
figure out.
That's the thing about ADCC. It's like so it's you know the difference between there's a good jump between the beginner and the intermediate. But then from intermediate to advanced, I don't see much of a difference.
No, they're the
when
same.
I look at the intermediate division, like most of them are winning both. At least in my division, because they're small people, but they're like teenagers who are winning the intermediate and winning the
I
advanced.
faced a guy that did worse in the intermediate division than he did in my division.
What the hell is that?
Yeah,
right?
that's
crazy.
It's kind of interesting, but it's like Jeremiah comes in and he's just off of just
Scrappy.
pure grit and toughness and wrestling, just kind of like Mario,
Yeah.
right? It just comes in and like
Stays
has
in the
success.
match.
Stays
Yep.
in-
Knows
what are
when
you
to
gonna-
hold, knows
You
when
can't
to hold.
submit him, man.
Yep.
It's hard to submit him.
He had a real someone caught him in a reverse
The triangle,
triangle,
that was
real
fun, right?
close. Yeah.
Towards the end of the
I
match,
got-
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
right in. I like crawled on the mat to get close to him, and he's looking at me and he's just listening to everything we're saying.
Keep
And
that elbow
he's
over
like,
here.
I heard everything you said. It was so much fun.
Yeah, so then
But he took third.
So he took third, and then his only loss, it was just like, talking about styles, it was kind of funny. So every match, he takes guys down and then just very good side to side passing. And then the one match, the guy pulls guard on him, gets him in his closed guard, and then
Oh,
just
yeah, that's
the
a
most
bitch.
basic arm bar you've ever
Really?
seen. And he tries to stand up and pull his arm out, and he just comes over to me and I go, Jeremiah, you know what to do when someone closed guard? He goes, I have no idea. I go, we'll work on that. Like, not even, that's okay.
And it's funny, Sergio, who's like his best buddy, went up to right away. He's like, you missed that class last week. That's literally what we did last week. We talked about not pulling your arm
That's
out.
awesome.
You're like,
Yeah.
Close guard's hard to deal with when you're a beginner.
yeah.
And you got someone that's really good and just pulling
Which
you
is
in.
funny because it is and it can still be hard, but it's probably the easiest thing to deal with.
Yeah.
Like once you start to understand, it's pretty simplistic compared to the open guard. Open guard can have so many variation, but once you so it's super hard when you don't know anything.
Yep.
For sure.
As soon as you understand, that's the easiest problem to solve. Then you get into half guard stuff. There's so much more interesting dilemmas, but. Yeah, so Jeremiah did great.
So
He
then
placed.
Jay got forced into Jeremiah's division.
Yeah.
They put me in the same
Yeah.
division
So
as him.
Jay, who's 57 years old, gets put in with the 19-year-olds.
Don't be that mean. So with him being 63 years old, so
Yeah, Jay.
so-
I'm sorry it worked out that way. I think I was I was just sad for you because I wanted you to have a really fun experience with a guy, someone around your age or skill level.
well, and I don't think any of it was fun for you.
It was
you were
brutal,
hurt,
right?
Yeah, you were hurt,
Yeah.
right?
I was hurt.
Yeah.
Is
And
that
it's just the reality of it, and it's not. There's a reason why there's masters divisions, and it's not that you can't compete with them because you compete with both those guys
Yeah.
well, and you could have that first match easily. You could have won.
Yeah.
I think you made some mistakes submission wise, and that was it, right? But
It was just a ref's decision, really
A decision.
really weird thing where Jay dominated most of the match, but then the last minute the guy almost
Was
took
on
his
the
back,
back,
and so
and
the
Kimura.
the Kimura's the whole
And the
time, and then they
Kimuras.
went to overtime, and Jay dominates most of the overtime, and then the last minute of that the guy kind of almost took
Yeah.
your back, so it was a weird one. It
It's just
could have gone
tough.
either way,
But
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's probably better for you
Yeah.
overall.
Oh yeah, the experience was
Than
phenomenal.
if you just had that one we thought Jay was going to get one person. We're like, oh, good. We got a second place no matter what.
Yep.
Like, we got some
With
points,
some no matter what.
But if that would have happened, you just would have had 2 matches with one dude. This was probably more beneficial long term.
Yeah.
So looking at the glass half full,
Yes.
hopefully the rib is all right. So you got a little injury.
Yeah. It was a little tender before I went in. I heard it like the week of training.
Who did it? Me?
Yeah.
Sorry. Did I really?
No, yeah.
Probably me.
Yeah, it was. We were working on the back takes, and it was that really strong triangle. And usually, when you have it lower, like I can handle it.
Yeah, we were talking about
your,
this.
your squeezes are hard.
Sorry.
That's right. Ortiz almost broke all my
my
ribs
own
this
damn
morning in
fault.
the guillotine. Yeah.
I could have very easily just tapped. Right, and I should.
Sometimes it's the smartest choice.
Yeah, especially
But I'm stubborn too, and,
Yeah,
and
for
I want to let him work as well. Like
Jay's
I
one of the toughest
letting him-
guys, and you're really tough to finish from the back.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get like to the point where like, I'm sorry, Jay. And I say that to him.
Yeah,
like, I'm
but
going to finish it right now. So I'm gonna do
and I'm
anything
like,
it
do
takes.
it, fucking. I want to feel that
do it.
pressure.
Yeah.
Like that's only going to make me better. Like if I'm
As long as you don't die,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
If you don't break a rib,
right.
yeah.
But yeah, I went in there a little sore. Just try not to think about it too much. Didn't want weight heavy on my mind, but I did have like moments of weakness.
Yeah.
where I was just
Well,
like, I can just quit now.
You stood up
maybe
to do the OT, and you were like holding your rib. I could tell you were
If it
really hurt.
wasn't
I was
for
like,
you-
just go.
If it wasn't for you saying that I heard clear as day.
Yeah.
Jay, we'll worry about that later.
Yeah,
and I'm
just-
like, you know what, you're right.
yeah,
And I just
just
took
go.
a deep breath, turned around, and then went right into it. So,
But yeah, those-
thank you for
those moments where you do
those-
kind of want to quit.
Yeah.
Like that's a powerful expression of like everyone has it. If you ever trained, if you fought. I mean, I'm sure no matter what, even if the fight was going great, there was still a moment probably in the fight where you're like, your face grinded up on a cage, you hit something and just, I know, every single fight, I've had, fights that were at 15 seconds and me walking, it's like, I probably shouldn't do it. Yeah. Every fight that in jiu-jitsu, not so much personally. Like, I don't feel that way. Like, it's always just like, like tough match and you're like, you want to slow it down or whatever. That's a little bit of weakness, but fighting every single time you want to quit. So I think it's valuable for people to learn how to break through those like little glass ceilings of like, do I want to quit? And you're like, yeah, no, I'm okay. I'll keep going.
Yeah. And I think that was my biggest takeaway from this tournament was the fact that I mentally was able to like overcome those creeping thoughts that were just like, just lay over,
Just roll over,
just
get
tap,
it.
just don't even, you can go into the match, play around a little bit, and then tap when you get something difficult. And I was able to like
Break through
that.
Nice.
That's
Well, now you know you'll never break.
Yep.
That's a good
exactly.
thing.
And
Yeah,
on the
that-
fly,
that's-
moving up a weight class like that, not a lot of people would do that.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
it's rough, dude.
you think you're gonna have one match, and all of a sudden you're in a different division.
Yeah.
Now you got
different-
40 people
Yeah.
in the division. Now you have one person.
I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And then my second match too, that was like they even asked me, like they saw me walk up, they're like, did you just go? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, if I sit any longer,
Yeah,
I'm
George
I'm
Foreman.
going to I'm
Don't
gonna
sit
let
between
her up.
rounds.
Yeah.
tighten up. And
So I went in there and the kid put me in his guard right away, and my first instinct was like to protect.
You
And
rib.
that happened,
Triangle.
and then he put me in a triangle. I'm like, do I tap now?
Yeah.
Like this is like I'm done. Like I don't know. And then I saw you in the corner coaching me. Come on, Jay, you can get out of this. I'm like, he's right. I'm not gonna fucking.
And you
quit.
did a great job. It
Yeah.
was just you were bouncing back and
Yeah.
forth between the armbar and the triangle.
Yeah.
But you got out.
Yeah, I got out, and,
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I was proud of myself in that. And
Fuck yeah.
again, can't thank you guys enough.
Oh,
that's
so much
crazy.
fun.
It's like
Push.
that little, like in that moment, right? You have someone pushing you.
Yes.
But if you don't got that, it's
Yep.
that's
You
why
quit it
You're done.
easy.
That's
it
where
really
the team-
matters having people who've been
Well,
training
that's why
with you.
I couldn't believe you were out by yourself in Costa Mesa.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what me
Yeah.
and Kyle said. We're like, dude,
Yep.
you just
He's
what
a
a
dog.
fucking dog,
We
dude.
fell in love with it right away.
Yeah, like we need to talk to him more. We need to get him like, I want us to feel like everyone's here for you.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, and I do, and I appreciate you guys, man, and just what we've gone through this year. It's like,
been awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's just getting started.
Yep.
It really is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So let's wrap the white
Who
belts
else?
with
What else you
Sergio.
got?
Sergio won gold.
Gold medal,
Sergio,
Sergio.
yeah.
Can you
Very
believe
impressive.
Oh man,
was
it's so
Fucking
amazing.
Sergio, man.
So
He
proud
He was
of
on a
him.
mission.
Yep.
Yeah, he was.
So he never. He told me he's never taken first place in his life. And I was like talking about like everything, like even his job.
Good man.
No,
Good man.
he was so-
I've never caught a criminal. They all get away.
No, I was just so happy for him, and I feel like he is such a personal little
Project kind of.
project. And,
Put a lot
like,
of time into him.
Yeah, me and him were similar size, and when he first time he ever competed, and I was there, he wasn't even training with me yet, but I ended up coaching him. Remember?
Yep.
And I'm just being like, man, you don't know what you're doing at all. I was like, you don't know anything about jiu-jitsu at all. I think you need to learn.
Yep.
And he was so receptive. He didn't take it like, well, fuck you. Like he was like, yeah, tell me whatever. What do you want to know?
Well, I remember,
what should I know? Tell me this. Tell me that. So he was like super. Like he's a very good student.
Well, it's funny watching him now because like I remember at first almost telling you like. He told me he wrestles. I don't know if he did. And I think it was more just like
fatigue and not knowing.
I think the overwhelming of all the things of jiu-jitsu. And now I can see that he wrestled. I can see his wrestling come out.
And this is something that's hard for people to understand. If you either just wrestle or you just do jiu-jitsu, is like just depending on their style of wrestling, like him being a small guy who just did folk style wrestling. His wrestling did not have much application to jiu-jitsu. He was only doing sweep singles and his head's all the way down on the floor.
Okay.
He would just he can't wrestle for 6 minutes like that. He was too tired.
Like
wrestling, what does wrestling mean? Like you say like Randy Couture was the perfect wrestler for MMA.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that some guy who's a 103 pounder who wrestles in a high level folk style is not going to translate to MMA. He's going to have his head down on the floor. He's going to get kneed in the head. It's like Greco-Roman wrestling.
Shoes are different. The fence is different.
Everything's different.
So you run into like the
best
the
wrestlers.
three dilemmas you said. So the best wrestlers ever have been Greco guys. So you got Dan Henderson and like
for MMA,
Randy and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you got freestyle guys like Yoel. Yoel takes everyone down, but can't keep him on the ground. He just takes them down and they just stand back up. And then you got Askren, who, if he gets you down,
style.
people do not get back up, but
he's a mat
you can get
guy.
flying knee.
It's funny watching his evolution when he was trying to take people down and pass the guard and get them out, and he was getting bucked off, but then he went back to folk style, riding
them.
Getting the cross wrist, breaking people
you
down.
watch the exact the BJJ Scout thing. Yeah, that's great. Yes, that's so amazing.
I mean, it's just that is something that everyone's like, oh, he's wrestled. What does that mean, though? I don't know anything. If I don't know what your style of wrestling, if I never wrestle with you, but I can tell instantly when I wrestle with someone, there's a lot of kids who are good wrestlers, and I'm like, your style of wrestling is not what's going to translate. You don't know how to hand
shoot
fight.
A sweep single to their knees, and they're used to finishing on the knees. You're going to get
all their
reverse
low ankle
triangle.
stuff.
Yeah. That's tough because that's how I wrestled. Low ankles, outside
Lanky.
on my knees.
Yeah.
And it's hard to translate it over.
What you want is you want to redevelop this like more of an upright hand fighting, pummeling, heavy on the head, making people tired. It's a totally different style.
It's totally different. Like you said, implementing the judo, the foot sweeps and all that.
And it all comes back to tactics. Like that's a tactical side.
You
can
threw
be
the
a great
fuck out of me today. That was awesome. It was great. Yeah, I went spinning down.
Isn't it nice to throw Kyle for some reason? I like throwing Kyle more than anyone else.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Dude,
Every once in a while, I'll hit Kyle with something, and it's like it just feels good because you're like long. And it's like,
dude, your defense though, man, and just fighting out of position. You're a tough round, bro.
Thanks, man.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you as well, man. Makes it really tough.
What we said today too. It's so much more fun to wrestle with you, to grapple with you now because we get these like wrestling exchanges.
It's going everywhere, right?
I love it. So much fun.
Yeah. So those are our
Sergio,
white belts.
Congrats, buddy. Good job.
Awesome.
You did it.
Really proud of you, Serge. So those are our white belts. Now we got blue belts. We got Orlando and Taylor, I believe.
Orlando and Taylor.
Orlando's a blue belt.
No,
Orlando just got his purple belt.
Oh,
Yes,
wow,
just got his purple belt.
Orlando's tough, man.
Yeah, my apologies, Orlando. Yeah, I know you just got it.
Disrespect.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's intermediate, right?
Well, so Joey, we'll go minor disrespect back to me. Tell them what he said to you about why he joined the gym.
Orlando.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So he came in right because he's from Fusion or was at Fusion. So like that big crew of people came in. He's like just heard about it and then he saw Kyle in the locker room and he's like, I'm gonna fuck everyone up in this gym.
I'm gonna smash
he's like,
that guy.
This guy looks like a nerd. He's like a skinny. These are not his exact words. He said a much nicer way.
I know exactly.
I've never seen Kyle with his shirt off.
I know exactly what through his head.
He looked at Kyle. He's like, this guy's probably homeless. Like, they're not that good here. But then Kyle just messed him up. I think he tapped him like 5 times in a round or something. And he's like, oh, I got to start training him more. He instantly, then he started coming every Sunday, and then he's like, 6 a.m. classes, started coming to that.
He is freakishly strong.
Orlando is weirdly strong.
Yeah,
right?
it's like, weirdly strong.
I rolled with him again just this week. Like a noon class, we just rolled and stuff. It's like, he's got a weird strength.
And then for like someone freaky, like you're saying, like physical build and movement pattern style, I would never pick the game that he has for his build. Like Kimuras and leg locks, I would never pick that for someone built like him. But he's great at it. Yeah,
his wrestling looked really good too.
Yeah, which he was so. That's his biggest gap and like what he's scared of. He's like, I've never won. He's like, he gets taken down every match. He says. But we've been doing a lot of stand up where every day I make them start on the feet and we work some stuff.
Those things help.
Hand fighting,
Yeah,
just the
those
hand fighting.
classes are great.
I'm barely teaching takedowns, and everyone's getting better at takedowns, which is a good. That's a good sign. You're minimizing the risk, and everyone's getting the reward.
Yeah, because it's the prerequisite to the takedown is off balancing.
Takedown's not as
right.
that again. It's the techniques are not that. It's not that impressive. It's the tactics and the concepts, the ideas.
Like you said, with all the duck unders and stuff, Joey's like, it's really just like really good timing. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like the movement is not that hard. Go under their shoulder.
The only reason you drill is to develop sensitivity and timing.
And
It's not because you need some special technique. It's Giuseppe's got fucking awesome duck unders.
Yep.
The only reason why you're good at it is because you've done it. You feel it. You know the feeling. Yeah, and it's cool to see that finally click for Orlando because he got two. I think he won every stand-up exchange except for one. I think he got a little back taken, then something happened. But he really did well.
Yep. So 2 epic wins, and he got a silver.
Medal.
He had a really epic knee bar that we all freaked out about. That was the best.
Did you see that?
That was fantastic.
Yeah, it was like, me and Kyle, we all like screamed so loud that I don't think he understood that the guy was and he didn't really crank. It wasn't bad at all.
No, he was fine.
But the referee yelled at him like a little kid.
Yeah.
Pointed his finger at him.
If you're in a position like that, you got to make it like tap.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
know what I'm saying? I've been in the heel hook where
He like tapped, and then the guy like got mad because he tapped. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, he did one of those
That
like
was-
tap and then groan, and then
Right.
like, oh, I gotta still keep tapping. You know,
And what Orlando said, like he thought he was just trying to escape, like he was just pushing on him.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize he was tapping.
And
It
but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's almost be a thing. I remember almost like telling you that I was going to message the refs after Mejia broke my ankle and Costa
Like,
Mesa.
stop
just
it
like,
early.
not even stop it early, but just like they say to us, don't stop until we come in and stop the match. And then the refs don't do that.
Yeah.
And then it's like,
Well, do you remember that was
Yeah.
in Orlando? I yelled at the ref.
Yep.
That lady.
Yes.
She was like, she's a
remember
young
that.
blue belt, very, very, very sweet little girl. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm
her-
glad you said girl.
So
Yeah,
was
she
my
was a
mom, but I
lady.
wouldn't have her
Yeah,
ref
a
the
little
match.
girl.
What's that?
I so was my mom, but I wouldn't have her ref my match.
Yeah, she would probably. Your mom would be probably more qualified because she'd care more.
Yeah.
So like this girl could not care less.
Right.
She was literally just like she was just there.
That's the worst, man.
And
That
just
shit-
choking this kid
Well,
unconscious.
and that's one thing. If it was, so there's only 2 exceptions. So there's a sweet spot in between where, like, realistically, it's not that big of a deal. Like in the beginner division, intermediate division, but for little kids and for the advanced division, like the pro level, I need a referee who's really heavily invested in what's going on because, again, like, it wasn't a big deal for my matches in particular because I was going for chokes and stuff, and like. I feel the person tap, I let go. But I'm watching people get their leg broken. Like literally just pop, and the person's tapping, and the other person's not letting go because they're kind of under that impression that like, I'm not gonna let go until she does. And she's literally got her arms crossed and she's just like,
Well, I mean,
like nothing.
Watching
Imagine
And
if-
I looked at her and I said, this guy tapped like 10 times. Do you want me to stop?
Yep.
And she's like, she like didn't say it. It was very
remember.
awkward.
I mean, so imagine if
didn't like
that
it.
situation would have happened with the heel hook you hit this past
Oh yeah,
weekend.
yeah.
I mean, you could have.
I'm gonna stop eventually.
Yep.
I have to.
I mean, honestly, in Orlando, I mean, if you rewatch the first heel hook I got at Orlando, I stop before I'm almost letting him go, like as the kid's tapping. Like it's just I broke your leg. It's done. Like I just don't.
And I actually, so I mean, we could talk
Well,
about that.
we'll
Are we
get to
there?
yours.
Where are we
Yeah.
at?
So we're at Orlando. Let's
did
do
great.
Taylor real quick. Let's do the last blue belt. So Taylor.
Very proud of Taylor
Yep.
because of the growth from Orlando to this.
And we had a great, like, I was in the chair coaching her. You had the other angle. We had every angle coaching for her. It was perfect. We owned
really
the gym.
helped her.
Yeah.
Own that. Spot.
yeah, that's one strategy is I go to the other side to coach.
I could tell their coaches were
Yeah,
like,
they're
looking
getting
at
mad. But I don't give a shit. That's what's cool too about
They don't
ADCC.
care.
Is
They
They
love
don't
it.
give a shit.
No.
I don't think you can do any of that in IBJJF, right?
No, you got to be very
one coach probably.
Coach, you're in the tunnel with them. It's very structured. You
I
got
don't like
people
that.
on your
I like
ass.
it laid back, man.
I like the screaming.
Yeah, it's fun.
More chaos,
more
the
fun.
better.
But
Yes.
so from Orlando Open to this one, Taylor at the Orlando Open, and she's I've told her this in person, so I'll say it here. She was like a deer in headlights, like completely just like terrified to compete, and she squeezed a match by a girl who she should have just like crushed.
Yes.
And then could have won another. Like I feel like she could have done a lot better, and she knew it too. And it wasn't a technical; it was a completely just a
Scrapped it.
performance.
Yeah.
A performance problem. She performed poorly, and then in this tournament, she did well. She didn't play. She didn't have the success that maybe she wanted, but her first match, she just looked like she was supposed to be there.
She looked really good.
Like she looked like confident. Came out with you
Yeah.
can see it in people's eyes, like they're not like terrified. So she can't, like that alone, I was already like, all right, this is a better, even if she goes and loses 2 matches, she looks like she should be here. And that was, you know,
It
that
takes
was
time as you start at a
how do you
later
develop that
age.
confidence? You know, I don't know. Like as a girl, and this is not to talk about, but girls, all she did was cheerleading. How the fuck do you go from cheerleading to fighting, you know, to jujitsu and like not have that like period of time where like, who am I? What am I doing?
Yeah,
am I in the right place?
For sure.
If you haven't been out there at
Identity.
all before, you know, it's like
I've grappled my whole life. I wrestled. Like this is normal.
but it's just
completely
like,
normal.
It's
to
like
me.
the first time you have you ever like lit a blowtorch with like a lighter? It's like
Drug addicts.
Every time you've seen just like a fire or something. Like anytime you've seen someone do it, like you're at a bonfire and someone does it, you're like, oh, I could do that. And then the first time you're the person holding the blowtorch and you like turn the gas on and you're gonna light it, you're like, I don't know how to do this, and I think this might explode in front of me. And then after, like, you know, it's just like, you know, it's just until you've done something and experienced, everything looks, you know, it's easy to like cut a sandwich until you pull out the serrated knife and you're like, I don't know if I've done this before. You know, it's like, you just gotta be out there.
So what gives you that confidence? I guess is just fucking
You gotta do it. Yeah,
right?
you gotta realize it's not that big a
Seeing
deal.
people
you know?
do it.
Yeah. Having good mentors, people who will kind of guide you through it. So
Putting in the
I think
work.
she's broken through that. I don't think she can, and I don't think people go backwards. That's personal. But I haven't seen that. Once I see someone's like, oh, they look like they're ready to be here and they want to do it, they might be another stage. Like let's say you go somewhere bigger and like, or like there's a
Better
more
competition.
competition, more spotlight on you, and you might then
Another mountain to climb.
you know, of course that might happen, but in general, I'm really happy that she has that little breakthrough.
Yep.
Does well, wins the match.
Yep.
And then lost 2 guillotines.
Yep, 2 guillotines, something we could work on. You
And
know?
then this week was all guillotine defense.
Good.
You know, and that was not by, you know, that was by design. It wasn't by design. That just
The
happened.
week you need is the week you missed.
Yeah.
You know?
But she did great.
So let's do.
Who else? Do we have everyone?
So let's do you first, and then we'll go Giuseppe because he's the guest.
Yeah. So my tournament.
Yep.
I felt you know, now looking back, a little too confident.
Okay.
Maybe a little arrogant because it's all people who I beat.
Yeah.
And I was like, I beat this guy. It'll be okay.
Yep.
But in my head, still saying like, I know it's gonna be tough, but I've been there.
Yep.
So like maybe like too confident with the serrated knife, like you're saying, or like
Yes.
the blowtorch.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
So at first
there are still risks here. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, we've talked about him on the podcast, and he's a great kid. Now we're like, he like loves me. He's been sending me messages. And
Yeah,
stuff.
he was, especially the first one. He was jacked up. Yeah.
Yeah. Half.
Rafael Figueroa, I think it's.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Yeah. Well, we call him Spider Kid.
Spider Kid,
So
yeah.
Spider Kid.
He is
you
like
know,
a fucking spider.
Dude, he's
mad.
And he's because so I faced him in April in the Costa Mesa tournament and beat him for third, and he, you know, was like kind of like just gangly and like movable. And this time he went from someone who did not wrestle at all. Like I took him down 3-4 times, and he never wanted to get up. Like if he tried to get up, I threw him on the ground. That was it. And then he'd stop trying to get up. And this time he just kept getting up and kept like he just not good. I took him down. As many
Yeah,
times.
he's
I
got
took
a
him down
really
bunch.
weird. He's
not a good. He just drives into people.
He'll charge people with like a tie clinch
Yeah.
and just start like punching. It's
Very
really
awkward,
weird. Yeah.
very awkward and like fatiguing. Right. So like I told him that after the match. I said like the biggest thing. He's like, you know, he was talking about matches and stuff, and I said the biggest thing that you did, you know, change was that you just wanted to fight harder.
Yeah.
Like you just fucking tried really hard. Like I think you really wanted to win last time too. He's like, you know, very into it.
Yep.
But he tried like physically to make it harder, and I fucking got exhausted that first match. So I lose by 3 points by a back take at the end.
Yeah, you just
like
had
last
some
10 seconds took my
Yeah.
back.
He was going for your leg. You scrambled out. You had some
Yeah.
weird scramble. You jumped in your back. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just was so like upset.
Did
I
you-
sat there just like
Did you? I mean, obviously, but just the way you looked at the table, were you kind of hoping he had got points at, or did
I
you
didn't know.
Okay,
No, I
yeah.
didn't know. I
for
mean,
sure.
I knew that I should have lost.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe there was overtime.
Okay.
Like
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, just,
like no
yeah.
points, and then, but who knows? Yeah. But yeah, so I after that match, I just sat there and I just remember being like, "Oh my god, I'm like so lightheaded. I don't feel good."
I remember I
Something's
handed
off.
you like 2 bottles of water and you
They were
dropped
empty.
them. You just dropped them
Yeah.
both. And
Yeah,
they're-
I was like,
I remember somebody gave you a water bottle. You went to go drink it, and it was empty. And I tossed a water bottle from across the mat. I'm like, here. Like yeah.
I was not feeling well. I was upset. So I sat there until my next match, just like pissed off.
Stewing.
Yeah.
You know, and then even my second match, I faced some older guy. He seemed older.
Yep.
Maybe he was not, but
Just-
he
he's
I was
bald.
afraid for
He's
him
bald.
actually. I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna.
That's why I said everyone. I go, this guy's fucked.
yeah.
Joey's
No, but
gonna
he
beat
was
him
good.
up.
He was tough. And I in that match, I threw up in the first couple. I threw up in my mouth because my stomach was hurt.
Yeah.
I was like, gotta keep going.
Shit.
I think something was going around.
I didn't
'cause
feel good.
A
Like,
lot
my
of people
stomach
were
was
sick
not
before
feeling-
we left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Jeremiah was sick. Everyone was a little sick, but it wasn't like oh, I'm sick. It was just my stomach hurt, and then yeah, like I beat that guy.
Yep.
But I should have submitted. It's like, and then I was more disappointed. It's like that's like we were saying, like it's a healthy level. Sometimes gets unhealthy with me. I know I've been that way since
Hard
I was
yourself, man.
Since I was a kid, I've always been that way. Like even with stupid shit, like. If I lose Monopoly, I get like fucking
Competitive.
God damn it!
Well, we
like,
say that about everything with you. If we introduce a new game to you, if you win, you're like, this is the greatest game ever. If you lose, you're like, this is the dumbest
Yeah.
fucking game I've ever seen.
I just-
Who would play this
can't help
game? You're
myself.
like,
I've done that
Joey,
with
this is
video games
baseball.
my
It's
whole
been
life.
around for 200 years. People love baseball. You can't hit the ball.
is it
It's just
called?
like,
Yeah, man, and that's just how my personality. And so with that, again, like I just disappointed. Like I felt good. I should have submitted him with a Kimura right away. I had this, and I remember just grabbing it and being like, I'm gonna take
tired.
this slower. Yeah, it's stupid. But and then another match. What was the third match?
Was that the heel hook? I kept messing
Kobe.
if you had.
Then I faced Kobe.
That's
So
right.
Kobe,
That's right.
Kobe's a good friend. Again, another, like we said, like I just make friends with everyone.
Yeah.
You know? So Kobe's awesome. He's the kid who I beat for first place in Chicago. He's like a 14-year-old kid,
Just getting better
Yeah.
every time.
and and he's way stronger than me. What the hell is that? I mean, not really, but like he's legitimately like just so weirdly strong.
Yeah.
Flexible, like crazy. Like, he's just a kid who's been grappling his whole life, and he's just getting started. But a really fun match, and again, just kind of like slow, and I just felt like shit. Like I didn't grapple well. And he grappled well, which I should say too. It's not just me.
But you I think, honestly, like we said,
these kids are getting better, and they're getting better at a rate that is beyond the speed that I can get better, just physically.
I would say too, without being so hard on yourself. I think I would say you did what we've been talking about of like just a rough day where you're not feeling it, but you just won.
Get over it.
You just won.
Yeah,
You just
I'm
found
gonna-
it.
and I could have done it better. You know what I mean? Like the guard passing stuff, that's what's fresh in my mind. I'm
Yep.
disappointed that I didn't do a better job at. I started to pick it up with Kobe at the end. I don't know if you watched the match
Yep.
again, but that's when it started to click. I was like, oh yeah, why am I just sitting around? Why am I on my knee? Why am I fucking laying around?
Yeah.
Me and you have talked about this a lot,
It's
and we
like
get
you're
stuck
just
in these
hanging
patterns.
out in
But
a fucking
why?
collar tie, right?
Yeah, why am I just like when I could back up and start moving?
Yeah.
But yeah, this is some fun stuff that we're gonna jump a big level in the next 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
So you beat Colby
Beat
on a
Colby.
sweep.
Remember
or a
the,
takedown? Was it a sweep or a takedown?
Sweep,
Yeah.
reversal.
Yeah.
Sweep.
Because I thought you might have been going to OT and then they gave you points. Yeah.
They gave me the points. Remember, he puts me in a. So Kobe puts me in a.
Kobe
what's
puts
the move called?
So
A
he
buggy
put
choke.
Joey in a buggy choke and Joey picked him up, was just holding him up in the air on his knees, and I said to Joey, I go, you can slam him, and Joey like turns him towards me and looks me in the face and goes, I'm not slamming him. Man, what's wrong with you, dude?
Think about what a monster I would be if I knocked this 14-year-old kid unconscious.
You guys see that guy slam J-Rod the first trials in the
Yep.
buggy?
It's a bad one?
The trend dude.
Yeah.
Dude,
what's
I
his
don't know.
name?
if
Picked him
that's-
up off the mat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Who was the one kid
that
that
guy
like
always
almost
fights people.
died?
Yeah, so I was in the stands with the kid who did that afterwards.
Who got knocked out? Or?
No, with the knocker outer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when we were in West Coast, do you remember that?
Yeah.
The one guy got carried out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that
was
was messed up.
bad.
So like this.
You
this
gotta
is
let him go though, bro. When
Yeah.
you get picked up, man,
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's
You
more of a
know?
lesson
Kind of
for
on
him.
him,
But I
yeah.
said that to him too. I was like,
a dumb move.
But I also just know, like, personally, there was no possible way that was going out.
Well, and
I just know
yeah,
that. I
if you
know
know.
myself very well. Like,
Maybe
Well-
if you're gonna go out, it's a different story.
Well,
Yeah.
let's be
Yeah,
honest
and I
about
think
it.
I
though.
might do-
Did you guys see anybody win with one?
A buggy?
Yeah.
dude, this is just the evolution of things. It had a
But-
phase, and it will
but
come
a
back.
Total fad move, like
Right.
because it's
But just like everything
Yeah.
has those moments, man. Like everything.
yeah. Things go through sequence, but like I just that was a real like for a few months, and then
or like less
maybe
than
a year.
Yeah, less than
it
a
just
year.
was not a very long.
It's good to threaten. Like
still a move.
If,
Don't get
if
it
you're
wrong.
getting passed and you throw it up, you're in a submission. So
That's
you
what
can you can kind of
Hold it and
stall
not get the point,
and
and
then
then-
use it to
Yeah.
Sumigation or something, right?
I just if someone's like super tight head and arm to pass,
Yeah.
like they're squeezing it so
But it
tight,
was- it
that's
was,
the only time I'll throw it up. Yeah.
I feel very confident. You've gotten me pretty tight. I felt it, and I don't believe in. I just know where to put my body. It's gonna be hard. I'd have to be completely asleep for you to put me to sleep in that. I'd have to just be kind of.
I do it all the time. I'm still not. It takes so much squeeze to do it, but it takes so much to do it that I'm like, this is just not. And I can tell
for anyone who's wondering.
That's why the Rotolos and like J Rod are so good at it. Those kids.
Fucking strong.
They're
right?
so strong. They just
but
like
going back to anatomy standpoint, it's like externally rotating your tibia like that and grabbing your foot all the time.
And your knees just. It all looks a little.
It just
spicy.
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that happens, and it's one of those funny things. Like he's a great kid, and me and his dad are like I like him a lot.
Yep.
Like I talk
Really
to him
nice
a lot.
guy.
So
Yep.
They're just great people. They're gonna come out too. We planned it all
Good.
out.
Nice.
In the summer, they're gonna come out, and he's gonna stay and train and great kid. But so after that happens, all the table workers like you're a great guy. People will remember that you're not an asshole. It's like at least I get that going.
Yeah.
If I leave, I don't get to leave with a medal. I just leave with the reputation of not being a dick.
And now you had matches back to back here.
Yeah, I'd get the next one, which is
like literally less than 3 minutes.
Well, me and you were in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
We had a bye through the first round, and then we lose, so we have a lot of
right for the
matches.
reprieve.
Yeah, which is it's one of those like gauntlets of like, fuck, another match, and then I faced this Asian dude who I didn't catch his name or his story, but he was good. He submitted some people with leg locks.
Yep.
He was going for stuff, and I remember just he's going for something. I felt like I could do whatever I want. I was just holding his leg. I was like, okay, I felt my body finally felt like normal.
Yep.
It's like I can do whatever I want now. I can move. Because even with Kobe, I felt like just sick to my stomach. I was like standing up, like I don't want to work hard. And then like I dropped back. I don't remember how it happened, but I dropped back into a leg lock and I get into a heel hook and it was outside heel hook and I hear his ankle pop and then I like
because you didn't have his knee line at first. You popped his ankle like without his knee line.
I popped his ankle and like I'm thinking like, oh, he would tap like his ankle pop taps, so like it slips out. So I go, okay, I'm gonna do it again, and I grab it and I reverse figure four, which I know is really bad.
Yep.
And it like rolls through and it just completely just destroys his leg.
Yep. I mean, it was like
it was bad. It was a bad one. I thought for a moment because of the sound and like because I don't break that many people's legs. You
I know
you break a lot of people's legs. I don't
you
do
get
it.
heel hooks in competition.
I could feel
He's
it.
had so many people, especially purple belt and stuff. So the sound and like it was so loud in my ear that I was like I probably broke his shin. Like that's how in my head I was like I think I really hurt him.
Yep.
And I don't know why I'm just in a bad mood, but I yelled at him. I was like, "You're fucking idiot."
That was
I do it on him though, bro. It's like
that was my favorite part of the tournament. Joey was genuinely very upset that he had to hurt the guy. And for 10 minutes. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I called him retarded. I was like, "That was retarded, man. Why'd you do that?"
The first thing that happened is Joey just stood up and walked over me and goes, "Guy's fucking retarded. What's he doing?"
I was like, he had every opportunity. He had like 3 moments to tap before the bad pop.
Yes, it was like
pop once, and then I grab it and I'm like. Okay.
And in your head, you're being nice. Most
Very
people
nice.
are like,
most people are assholes and they're ripping it right away.
Yep.
Well, I kind of felt bad because then I yelled and I was like, "Why'd you do that?"
Yeah.
And then he's like, like he just felt bad.
Well, I think you kind of did what I did. What I noticed that like in competition, like when I'm training, when I grab someone's ankle, it's very like gentle the way I grab it. But in competition,
I grab it really hard.
When I grab it really hard, I almost crack their ankle just on the grab of the ankle,
that's a good point.
and then like the rest of it.
Then I held and like realistically, I probably shouldn't. Right, I should go for the finish quicker.
Yeah.
But it all positionally it worked out because in my opinion he tried to roll through and ended up in the outside.
Yep. You sucked the knee back in, probably popped his knee and then the roll through. Yeah, he was just done. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're taking care of him. Maybe he's trying to counterattack you. You're like, are you serious?
Yep.
Like, how many times in practice do you have somebody, but they don't?
Yes.
I can only, try to relate it to like what we were doing. Remember yesterday when we were sparring?
Yeah.
So we did some timing sparring with a bunch of people, some people brand new, and I'm telling them like, hey, we're not sparring that hard. So what does that mean? When I punch you in the face, if you just march forward and act like I didn't punch you, you're not respecting this. Now I'm gonna have to hit you a little. And now it's gonna get harder. And now it's gonna get harder. Now before you know it, we're going 100%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like with leg lock, same like similar ideas. Like if you don't respect it, like and you think like, oh no big deal. Maybe because and maybe some people don't have good braking mechanics, so they do slip out.
Never
and
felt
you're
their
like,
leg break.
Maybe they've never had someone actually grab it and know how to break it. But in general, it's like you gotta respect the. You made a mistake already.
He knows now.
And I think Giuseppe, you're smart about it too. Me and you are very on the same page. If I get caught with something, I'm gonna tap. I don't like limping away.
Here's
man.
the thing, like in the
know what I mean?
moment,
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
it's hard to decide in the moment, but like
It's
I've
fast.
always veered on the side of
Caution.
like, yeah, I tapped thoroughly to that fuck. But
Yep.
that's
Yeah,
why I
and
was
it
able to
hurts,
compete
man.
40 times in a year. You know what I'm
Like
saying?
DeGraff got me that toe hold with like 5 seconds left, maybe less. I don't know.
Yep.
It was like right on the end.
Yep.
But he got a good grip, and I just remember being like, do I want to be sore? Like, do I want to be hurt going on a plane ride home?
Yep.
You know, so I tapped. You know, and
You
then
got a
like,
lot more at stake too.
in
like-
hindsight, I could have been probably like let it go, and like my ankle would have been sore, and I could have gone to overtime. But you know, it's like little stuff like that.
Yep. Live and learn.
I respect technique.
Yeah, I expect getting caught. If you catch me,
right.
you
He
caught
caught
me.
me.
Right.
I
You
get-
got me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So then I get a rematch for third place with Spider Kid.
And it
And
was
Spider Kid was just on a warpath.
and it was
The kid
only
wanted
3
it so
minutes
bad.
long, right?
Yeah.
The match?
Yeah.
No,
I'm
I think
kidding.
it-
No, just,
I
the
wish.
first 3 minutes. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, the first 3 minutes.
Oh, my first 3 minutes,
Yeah.
I did great.
Yeah.
Yeah, first I did
remember.
great. No, I even said that in my head. I was like, I'm just gonna fucking kill him. I'm gonna go out really hard. I blast double the boom. I was like going really hard on him, and then I started like fading. I was like, I'm getting a little tired. But yeah, he's I got him in a really tight darce, and I remember
You mounted him with it, right?
Yeah, I had a really tight darce. It was like one of those finishes. Like I'm 100% sure I'm gonna get a tap. And I remember hearing, and I'm sure everyone's had this if you compete a lot, but I heard the sound come out of him that was like a panic. And all I could think was like, oh, he really wants to win. Like I was like, he really wants to win so bad. Like he's willing to like really
Yep.
put it on.
His
you know?
neck's gonna hurt.
Yeah, and he gets his knee in, and I didn't give up. I was trying, and he gets his knee in. And it's like, and then my arms. I'm like, I feel it. But I just say that about him, you know, as a you know, to credit to him, and like as a young kid, he's got a lot of, you know, like what Giuseppe has, like at the heart.
Corazon.
Yeah, he's got the heart, man. He just wants it so bad, and I love that. And I can feel the passion from him, you know. And at the end of the day, man, like I just love this sport. It's so much
Yeah,
fun.
for
so
sure.
even I'm like, you know, I was so upset. I wanted, you know, it's my first time not placing. It broke
Yeah.
my heart. My big goal that I wrote down in the beginning of the year was I'm placing every
Yep.
tournament I do. It's like first month. Every other tournament. You know, that's the goals. You set them, and then when you fail, you got to be motivated.
That's part of it. Yeah.
You can't let it deter you.
You got to be incapable of discouragement.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what
And
I
it's
want.
okay to be hard on yourself.
I am,
You
and I
know?
know, like, you know, I'll
as
say,
long
like,
as you don't pout and feel so like you're gonna be hard on yourself, but you're gonna find
Actually do something.
Actually do
and
something
it's-
about
and that's
it.
how you treat other people. So like,
Yeah.
you know, that's something I'm aware of. Like, you know, I'll just say like Dakota, right? So I spend time with Dakota, and you know, afterwards I'm like a little, you know, pissy. I'm like fucking like not in a great mood.
Yep.
It's like, you know, like why are you upset? Like it's hard if you can't understand it. I don't know how to say to you.
Yeah.
It's like it's upsetting.
No, I've noticed that like in the past week. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I'm
just
just, like,
you
in a-
just haven't
in a
been. Yeah,
mood,
you
you
haven't
know?
been the great mood. Yeah, yeah. Like,
But you know what I'm doing with that is I'm just feeling myself. Like I personally, you know, everyone's different.
Same
some
for me.
Some people take it in a different way, and that's fine.
Yep.
For me, I need that. I need to like not like scold myself, but I need to be like, man, you know you could do better.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I know you're like that too. I know
Yeah.
you. I've felt that from Giuseppe too. You know, I think you have more emotion. You're more of an emotional person. Like, you have the heat.
for sure.
I'm more of like kind of
Just like radiating through my body.
Yeah,
I
you
can't
got
help
the
it.
heat,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
it's the
Yep.
Italian
Yep.
fire.
For sure. Got a high blood pressure.
But overall, it was a great time, man.
So speaking of that, let's go to the
Giuseppe.
climax, Giuseppe.
Yeah,
All right.
Giuseppe, you are the main event, man.
Yeah. So Giuseppe, give us a breakdown. So I think I saw all your matches.
Your first
I think
match.
I saw them all.
First
Yep.
match is Abraham.
No, that was
first
the
match
second
was
one.
a 10 planet guy.
Yep.
Yeah, so I was up a weight class in 91, you know, because I didn't want to cut for. I'm not going to go down to 181 and then go back up to 194, right?
Yeah.
Even though it's not a terrible cut, but I do have to dehydrate myself and whatnot. So I was like, whatever, I'm just going to go 200. Had a pretty rough night the night before, you know, just throwing up a little bit of stomach issues, and I think it was just from being around so many people. A lot of people
Travel
were
too,
sick.
man.
Yeah, travel.
Yeah. A lot
I
of
was
people
on-
back here had the flu.
Again, I was on the plane too, and the person
Yeah.
next to us, me and Taylor, and the person on me had a mask and just fucking sneezing and like making these noises. I'm just like leaning over. I'm like, oh god.
That's the time you actually might wear a mask, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, you know, debating if I'm even going to compete, just having these mind battles with myself, and I'm like, man, I just spent all this money. I'm gonna.
We're here.
I'm feeling better. You know, woke up the morning, drink like 5 coffees,
Yeah, ready to go.
had some electrolytes.
Get
I was
that
ready to
blood
go.
pressure.
So yeah, get that blood pressure going. First match, And I'm feeling good this tournament. I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling excited. I'm feeling grateful to be there. Body's feeling good. Just got a little bit in my head about pushing the pace and like not wanting to overexert myself because I thought I was going to fatigue. So that's something I'm pretty disappointed in myself. But first match, pretty easy match. I take the guy down with an arm drag right away. I'm in top and half guard. These 10 planet guys that just want to play lockdown and whatnot. So avoided that. Got my upper body position. It was so funny in the match where like I had double underhooks. And I'm like, is this what I had? You're like, yeah, that's what you had. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is what I had. Like, why am I tweaking?
Yeah, they try to tweak him. Yep.
I love it.
So
That's another job of the rep, of the coach.
Yeah, you got to make sure they get the good shit.
I get so
actually-
angry
yeah.
when Taylor like that happened a couple times. Not this tournament, other tournaments. We're like, she's in a great position
And she'll
off
just
the mat,
take it.
and they go to switch,
Yeah.
and she's in a totally different position.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
you
pause,
gotta-
hold on, and then it's like too late.
You've noticed me. I'll cheat. I'll take what
I mean,
That's how I got
the
mine.
legend
Yeah.
of Sneaky J.
That's how I got it.
I had an underhook and a tight waist, and they resetted us with double underhooks, hand slide. I'm like, whatever.
I'll take it.
Just pass the guy's guard.
So just so you know, this is why we call him Sneaky J. His first tournament, he was like, I think. Weren't you in a bad position?
No.
I think he was in a bad
I
position. He
was
was
in side
mounted,
control.
and then he ends up. They
Then
go
he
back,
started
and he's on their
mounted.
back. And
I
everyone's
got
like,
on his back.
Jay wasn't there, was he? Sneaky.
If you
J.
ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yep.
Yeah, but top pressure, get my underhooks, head in the floor, insert a butterfly hook, take the guy's back, and sync it up. Probably like 2 minutes or so. Felt good, and
Nice.
then getting ready for the next match. Got a pretty decent guy, and this one in my head. I'm like, okay, let's go. I faced him before, and he got me in that fucking donkey guard bullshit,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
got me pretty quick with it. So I know this is a game dude. I know he's competed a lot. I know where he's from, and just I was like, all right, let's just
This is the match.
yeah,
right?
this is the match. So we're wrestling, hand fighting. Pulls guard, and he's got a good half guard. So the whole time I'm like really aware of that donkey guard, fighting his butterfly half, keeping top pressure, not moving around as much as I like. I kind of chilled in the split squat. I've been working on split squat a lot,
Yeah.
so kind of held him there. And as I'm denying his he's getting double underhook, he's getting sumigeshis, I'm denying it all, and then he eventually gets to a lower leg shift, right, and sweeps me over.
You were talking about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you did good. He got the tight. You got all the things set up. So you got the tight waist and the scoop in the leg. And the first time you
Yeah.
bailed in the whizzer, and then when he wrestled up, you hit him with the Uchimata
Yeah.
and put him back down. And
But
the
he
second
still
time you
had it.
kept the whizzer, and then
He
you
was
let him
really-
roll you.
Something of that, like he looks big, but like the strength wasn't an issue. It's just he was so persistent with his grips. And
Yeah.
like once he got to a grip, he knew what to do with it. And so he sweeps me with the lower leg shift, that deep half Lucas Leitch Coyote stuff, and
It's
then
like my favorite half guard.
so
game.
underrated, bro.
Yeah.
That's all I
So
teach.
once
The
your
only
knees
thing I
torqued,
teach.
Yep.
and you're not going anywhere. It's like it's so ridiculous how easy I got pulled over, but
Yeah.
And,
No-
and what you were saying, like once that grip is set, once everything's set, there's
Yeah.
like we were like, man, what can we do?
yeah.
I
So
don't think there's
I've-
much. There's not many options
Yeah.
once it's all set in.
He sweeps me to side control. Points just get turned. I heard Kyle yelling, "Don't give it up! Don't give it up!"
Yep.
So I managed to get to turtle with no points, and I've been really working on my front headlock, my turtle. And unfortunately, he's able to take my back. He gets my back for a good minute, and eventually I get out, get on top.
Is this where he shook him off? From the
Yep.
top?
Yeah, did you see that
Yeah.
photo?
You see the photo?
Yeah, that's great. Huh?
So, I shake him off, get on top, and, this is a guy that submits a lot of people, gets to his position. So, in the match, I'm like, wow, I could beat this guy.
Yeah.
You could hang, yeah.
But as I'm going, I'm not pushing the pace. I'm kind of coasting, and that's really something I was disappointed with myself, just not emptying the tank on him.
Yeah.
But he stayed a good job positionally, and he ended up staying in guard and getting that 3-0 win. So he ended up winning my division, and then second in the absolute. So he's a game
legit.
guy.
Yeah.
I'll see him again.
And I would say he's very talented. Like he's got a lot of skills. So he's not just a guy who's like just physically
No.
smashing people. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which is always good for you to feel the technical, like your competitive technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were really close to passing his half guard too.
Yeah.
There were like a bunch of times your foot was
And I
coming
felt
right
him-
out.
I
Yep.
felt him getting tired. I felt
Which
him
is
kind of.
it's a different feeling than having the guy who just literally just grabs you and
Yeah.
crushes you, and you're like, what the fuck was that?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
a
I'm
different
sure,
feeling.
and I'm sure, like that first match, not that he felt like he crushed you, but he just like caught you in his trick. And so
Yeah.
then this time it felt good to be like, fuck that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Ain't
felt
happening.
like it was just a trick, and now I know it was. Yeah,
For sure. Yeah. So, obviously disappointed, mad, but
You get to see him again too, which is
Yeah,
cool.
I'll see him
That's
again.
what's fun about these
Yeah.
opens.
So, brush it off. I'm pissed as fuck. I hate losing, but I'm not going to throw a tantrum. Before, I wouldn't have even competed. That's how just I am. I just get so butthurt.
Yep.
But I'm out there. I'm grateful to compete. I'm changing my mindset. I'm going for the title. Like, that's the next match. So, next match, I get a pretty lengthy guy. He's wearing like a shirt, one of those dudes. So, no wrestling. He's tall. He's
That
lengthy.
always means something. This guy's either really good or he's terrible.
So end up getting to a front headlock, and it's so funny. I'm in the match, and like I hear you guys, but I don't hear you guys, and like you guys are giving me the perfect sequence to finish this Darce, but.
Yeah, we were talking.
I hear him gurgling. I hear him. I don't got the best position.
We were just trying to clear that hand off.
Clear that arm off the hip.
That's all we
had
were
him. Yep.
And he told me, he's like, man, it was close after. So just could finishing that, listening a little bit more. Probably get the finish there, but he ends up kind of reversing me a little bit and then puts me in a Darce. And then I hear
that was
you
fun.
giving me the defense, So I get on top and
that elbow over the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
Slow the game down.
That was my favorite match. Of course, Orlando's knee bar was kind of special, but this was my favorite match.
That was the epic. Yeah, it was an epic match. Yeah.
This was a fun match.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I get on top and we're in a half guard and he's just trying to turtle up and he made a mistake of posting in his elbow and going back to that wrestling ride. Grab the wrist, put his shoulder on the mat. You guys are all screaming.
Yeah, I love that.
Shoulder on the mat, and end up getting his back. Really disappointed I didn't finish him, but he was doing
tough
a
to
good
finish.
job.
He was doing a good job.
He
Yeah,
was doing a good job.
you could tell he decided to not escape and just
not
decided to
get
defend the
smoked.
choke. Yeah.
And I'll say too, you and Kyle both have just phenomenal back control once it's all set in, which
Yeah.
makes like Friday nights really tough.
Yeah.
Like when we start on
Yep.
the back, like Kyle starting my back is just really tough.
Yeah.
Because like in transition, I can usually shake you off and like. But if you
I feel
if
the
you get
exact
like
same.
a body triangle on something,
Yeah.
you should be
And
so
I'm
confident.
squeezing the whole time.
Anyone in the world, you should be able to.
Yeah, and I
so
do.
that should set that mindset of how do you make those moments happen.
Yeah.
In every scenario, you need to find your way to the back.
I'd say your style does remind me a lot of Varela, and that's
Andy
his style.
Varela.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's his
just
style.
trying
so.
to get there,
Because I don't care who it is. If you get body triangle set,
They ain't
all
getting
that-
you off. Yeah.
It's not getting off until you make a big mistake.
Exactly. Yeah, and you feel someone like that with that pressure, man. It just you're like it's
You
tough
wanna
to
give
stay
up.
in.
Yeah.
Like the guy that I got choked out by. Remember Dylan in Florida?
Okay.
That's how I felt. He got to my back. I was like, "Fuck, this dude's strong. He's on my back. He ended up
Scary,
strangling
yeah.
me," and I was so disappointed, man. Like I've never been finished on the back, and
Yeah.
I made it a point to Abraham had my back, and he was close, but I got out, and he ended up finishing Dylan from the back in the finals.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So. Yeah, good match overall. I felt good, a little, but now people are pulling out of the bracket. My next two opponents that didn't show up, whatever,
Walkover.
And then I end up getting this pretty tough dude, Nick. He's a Nate Diaz guy. He's a UFC vet, and looking at his match, I'm like, all right, this guy's a wrestler. He's kind of big,
big.
but
Yeah, you said you were going to leg lock him, and then you
Yeah.
did it because your wrestling was looking so good.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you were looking. That was the best wrestling you've ever had.
Yeah.
In that first 4 minutes.
and that's the thing. I kind of felt him.
And you're like, ooh, I can
I'm like,
take him down.
I can maybe get to his back and duck him, but
Your snaps were phenomenal.
Yeah, it wasn't even making sense to me. Like I was watching you
hitting
do
these,
it,
like,
and it was
snaps.
like it was like your hands weren't even on him, and he was just
And
like,
he's
falling
falling
down to
over.
his knees. Yeah,
I
That
just
was
had good
really
timing
cool.
with him pushing into me and just like moving out of the way, and I felt good, and I was trying to get to those underhooks. He was backing out. It was just a very physical match,
Scrappy.
But like that's in the moments where you can kind of get me to bite, right? Like you put me in a dogfight, and I just start seeing red.
Yeah.
you
Yep.
know?
Start
And
pulling on the
like,
bone.
like I heard you guys the plan, and
Yeah.
then in my mind I'm like, no, fuck this. I'm taking this guy. Now I need to get the takedown.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you
instead
got
of
in your
like
head a little
I had a
bit.
couple elevations I could have finished, but overall, pushing through and having that tight match, losing on the takedown, that kind of really bothered me.
Yeah.
But I think you also too. You kind of felt like you were pulling guard during the takedown too, didn't you?
Yeah,
you kind of
yeah.
conceded that takedown. So
a
it wasn't
little
like
bit. So there was
Yeah.
two takedowns. The first one was I was in a front headlock and I got up super lazy instead of taking my time, and he ended up taking me down there, right? And then the second one
Right on
was
the edge.
I got a low ankle. I came up on top.
that was a sick sequence. That was
Yeah.
that was awesome.
I'm like, I got to get him. I go to the body lock, but before I go to the body lock, I wrap the leg. Now I see Mario do this thing all the time where he counters an Uchimata, and I drilled it and I've done it, but I just got so tunnel vision and takedown. He used my momentum, Uchimata me, and got another takedown, and then I was just trying to wrestle up again. But Yeah, I feel like if I would have played him more, slow then game down, get him to 50-50 or something.
And you got to remember too, like from a size perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you get in a dogfight with someone who is the physical guy.
Yep.
It's not that you can't. It's just, is that the smartest? Is it the most tactical way
sure.
to approach it? Probably not.
Yep.
Right? You know, I mean, you could see it just happen by that last exchange. He's just moving. He's moving you more than
Yeah.
you're moving him.
Yep.
And that's
Yeah.
like you instantly see
And
it.
just off physicality,
Just
not even
physicality.
off
Not
like,
like,
you know,
oh, he's doing something.
cardio or it's
Where in
just-
that first minute or first 3 minutes or so, you're just everything
you
you
look
did
so
was
good.
that was a fun match.
Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
It was a good scrap, you know, and it's funny because I haven't taken a medal home yet, and I was so
It's this close.
Yeah.
That was
so
the best you've done.
point close to taking
Oh,
it,
man.
and I really wanted
Don't worry.
it.
We'll
Don't
get
worry.
one.
We got,
Yeah.
we
We'll
got
get one,
time.
sure.
Yeah,
It's gonna happen this year, Kyle. Same thing.
Yep.
Fucking.
I think I got fourth twice too.
Yeah.
That's right.
happened.
Been in the been there right to get the medal, but
You know,
haven't gotten done.
Jay's got a first place medal.
Hey,
So
the winner's couch over there.
yeah, winner's got first place
medal
medal.
Place.
But you know, it's I don't let that discourage me. I know the adjustments and just a little bit of this, you know.
Yeah.
Be out there and
So any like major what's the biggest thing you're taking from this tournament into the trials?
Croatia, yeah.
Yeah, in Croatia.
the biggest thing is knowing that I had the gas tank and the capability to hang with anyone technically, and just staying turned on, staying mentally focused, being my own best friend while I'm out there, you know, and really believing all the shit that I've gone through in the last couple years to get me to this point, and being like, yeah, I can do this. And just having fun and letting it loose, man. You know, like I know what I got to do. I know everyone out there. I know like I'm a hard match for everybody. Just not making stupid mistakes, not getting emotional, and when that adversity comes, coming out on the other side of it, you know, and that's what I look forward to. I don't want anything to be easy. I want 7 hard fucking matches.
Yeah.
I want
Nice.
That's
You know?
a big thing I've been trying to say for myself and for Kyle too, is that we want to enjoy the hard stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we can start doing that instead of wanting it to be easy, which
Yeah, absolutely.
everyone
And I
subconsciously,
catch myself- yep.
everyone does.
Let's get
Everyone-
this. Oh, we got
like,
this sub. Let's
I
get
just-
this.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
You know?
I just
want it to be easy.
It's funny
Or you
that-
think about, you see a matchup and you're like, oh, this is gonna be the easy one. Next one's gonna be the hard
Yeah.
one.
I
Like, that's not
just
the way we
always
should look
like
at it.
the easy matchup. Just the quick easy win was always just the goal for me, and not in terms of like I'm
That's
tired.
just
I
your
just
style.
like
Right.
I just thought that was the best jiu-jitsu. I tapped the guy in 10 seconds. Isn't
Yeah.
that amazing? And then now, yeah, I
And,
so
it's not-
don't.
I don't think that's wrong. I'm not
It's
saying
not
it's
wrong,
wrong.
but it's
What
just-
I'm saying
yeah.
is mentality wise, I think it's wrong to try to look for the easy
Yep.
win.
Yeah. Yep.
You need to mentally be ready for the
For-
hardest
for
fucking-
war. Yep.
9-minute match, every single match.
Yep, I'm gonna win 0 to -1. Right?
Okay.
You know, yeah.
Kind of knowing that you do to a degree know that there's this book like How to Excel in Tennis, and it talks about winning games and losing games. And losing games is where someone loses just based on their mistake. Like eventually, if you keep the match going long enough, someone's going to make a mistake, and the better person capitalizes.
Yeah. You feel
Winning
that?
games.
What's the game we were playing?
A pickleball.
Yeah.
Pickleball. God damn it.
Well,
You
that's
just
what I
make
was
someone
doing. Yes,
lose.
yeah. So I want to hear the rest of the thing.
Yeah.
And then we'll- yeah.
So winning games are where you go out there and you make it happen. You get the ankle lock, you get the triangle,
Yep.
you finesse the person, right? So that's not going to be
Totally different.
But with ADCC, you got to play the loser's game where you need to be perfect. You need to be positionally. You need to stay mentally turned on and not give anything up, because eventually that will come.
Those are those performances like Joseph Chen.
Yeah.
Those are the performances like Dorian Oliver.
or Big Breakfast was that guy's name, who won the 77 division?
Big breakfast.
Big Breakfast.
Oh,
that was his nickname.
Elijah Dorsey.
yeah,
Elijah Dorsey.
Dorsey.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
I
think
forget about him. He had a
I don't
great
think he's
performance.
submitted anybody.
Just
Yeah.
Like he won every
Just a
match
perfect,
2-0. You know,
perfect
yeah.
performance. Right?
Hard to score on. You're not going to get out of position. Not going to make any
Yeah.
stupid mistakes.
Yep.
And sometimes you got to be like that. But that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's like when you're in it, how do you decide, right?
Yeah, and that's the fun.
Yeah.
Goddamn, I'm excited. I want to compete now too.
This is
Yeah.
the best. Well, so me and Joe are going to compete at New Breed
We're gonna
this
do
coming
it.
weekend.
Yeah, why
Nice.
not?
This weekend you guys
Yep.
are going?
Yeah,
Yep.
why
We're going to
not?
go out there and do that. Yep.
Anyone else?
I don't think so. Not that we know of.
Yeah.
but
Just do something. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
honestly, yeah, and I'm
Let's stay
inspired.
active,
Again,
right?
it's
Nice.
inspired by you, you know, and even inspired by Kyle in general. You know, like as I think about if I could go back in time, you know, I was doing MMA, but MMA is so like 3 fights a year, maybe
Yeah.
when you're professional.
Maybe.
If you're lucky, yeah, 2 fights, three fights a year.
It's
You
funny
know,
to hear you say that when you fought way more than that.
I did it as an amateur
Towards the end,
but I'm saying
yeah.
as a pro, it's just hard to get that
Okay.
many fights. So
Yep.
in general, it's like it's more training, and then there's fight, training, fight. But like then you at that time you were competing. You have a book,
Yep.
Kyle, and we talked about it, I'm sure, but He's got all of his matches. He had like, how many matches as a purple belt?
Like 50 or 60, yeah.
So like
Yep.
you're just competing all the time, doing any tournament, on the weekend. And I never got to live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's like now I kind of
Now we're doing it.
Yeah.
And it's tough
Good.
because we're black belts and like there's not as many matches. I think like locally.
We're just gonna go
I know
sign
there's
up.
not.
Yep.
But I'll go up to 155 or
Yep.
something.
And that's what you got to do. You just got to be willing to put yourself out there, right?
Yeah.
So many people are scared to lose. They
I
want
don't
a
give a
perfect
shit
record.
about losing. I'm already,
Well, I need to be perfect one fucking day. That's all I need. And everyone's
Yeah.
going to forget about
Yes.
everything else.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yeah.
It was,
So
so,
true.
seriously, that's like a funny, a funny thing. I remember watching this video about this baseball player, right? This guy who like his entire career,
name's Jay Perez.
he literally was in the minors for like 12 years, and then like 2 or 3 years just like sitting on the bench on some team, and then like his team ends up going to the World Series, and it was like Game 7 of the World Series, and like the guy in front of him got injured, and it was like,
Oh, wow.
and he goes out and hits like the game-winning home run for like and it was just like
What
in
a
my head, it
redemption
was
arc.
like, well, not even redemption, but just like, would you rather be like, the guy who had the storied career? I'm Willie Mays. I'm the best player for like my whole career, or this guy who had this one moment that's like not all the moments, but one moment that's better than 10 years of everything.
It sounds like he had a lot less stressful life. For sure. He had one day of stress,
Yeah,
and then he
baby.
went back to the bench and sat
Yeah,
down.
but just think about that. Like, what's more impressive is like the one guy who this like ran through and won the division the one time, who like never should have, or the guy who dominated for 10 years. It's like everyone's
think
saying the guy
both
who
are
dominated for
impressive.
10
I
years,
think
but that
both are
other guy is still
impressive.
really cool too.
Both impressive in their own way,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm all about longevity. I want us to be able to do this for the next, 10, 15 years of like high level
Yep.
competitiveness. And, I'm going to be 33 in a couple weeks.
Looking good, bro.
Barely. I'm holding together.
making it.
Barely holding it together.
Yeah, no, physically I feel great. I just, it's like I do, and Jay, maybe you can comment on this, old man. It's like, I feel the more, especially when I lose to like a 17, I think he's 18. I don't
Yeah,
know.
goes through your head a lot more.
I'm like, man, am I just gonna get like when does it just drop off?
Let me give you the
when do I just like
I got you, Joe.
I'm old,
I got you. Here's-
Like, when do I start? Because I feel like I'm 8. In my head, I
Yeah.
still feel like an 18-year-old
For
kid,
sure.
Yeah.
and that's the immaturity more than like
I do as well.
Physical.
Here's your moment of encouragement, and it came from you.
Oh.
You came off the mat at the East Coast Trials 2021.
Okay.
Right? And after your first match, you said, fucking kid's 16. I feel so goddamn old. It's 3 years later, same guy.
I
You're
know.
still, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing, baby. Yeah. So
But is it not,
you
am I
felt
not
old then. You
Yeah.
felt old then.
Yeah,
so
so it's just interesting, like that's my goal. I want to be the old dude who's just crushing.
yep.
Or I look up to Ortiz too.
Yeah.
Ortiz is he's probably what 40 something.
Training for the streets, bro. I think you're good, bro.
Yeah.
I think you're good.
You have all the streets. They're yours. Yeah.
Well, Ortiz, he said it today again. He's like 100%. He's competing this
Good,
year.
good.
We're getting him out there. He's all excited.
I've
about
talked to
it.
a lot of people. I talked Vince into it. Vince Wadman's going
I
to do
want
it.
all
I've
those
been trying
guys.
to.
all those
they're
killers,
just so
dude.
talented.
Every
It's
time
just
he comes
not
by,
to.
every time he comes by and trains me, I'm talking Pat Curran into it. I'm like, Pat, you should do
Why
this
not?
ADCC Open. He's
Yeah,
just like,
dude.
really? You think so? I'm like, yes,
He would
dude.
crush
Like,
it.
Yeah.
So I'm just all about it, man. I like this is the dream. The dream for me is I'm doing everything I want.
Right.
Like Giuseppe said, like you never know when this is going to end. Just in general, not just jiu-jitsu, but life. And I'm so happy. I had so much fun playing Mario Kart in the fucking
Yep.
at the Airbnb and hanging out, going out to dinner, and
Yep.
like stuff like that. Just man, I love it all. So
Yeah, man, you're a real beacon for a lot of people. It's just such a joy to see what you built and done, and just being like, look at all the connections. Like all this is because you just decided to.
someone
make it
decides to
happen.
do it, right?
Yep, right.
And someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
And but you're a big part of it, Kyle, Jay, all you guys, and and even like this podcast, this
Yeah.
idea of doing the podcast. It's just a chance for us to maybe reach more people, get them inspired to do cool shit. Like, if you're someone who's just training a little bit and you want to make your life more interesting, fucking start pushing it.
Yeah,
What else
you should
doing?
definitely train regardless of
Yeah.
what you're doing.
What do you,
Yeah.
what,
Yeah,
you know?
what
What
are
do
you
you do if
doing?
you're going to work and you're going home and you're doing nothing?
Yeah.
You're fucking watching movies all night and you're. Just
I'm
make
telling
your
you
life
this is
more,
better.
Make,
Yeah.
make your life
Yeah,
a little bit more
promise.
interesting. But so yeah, that's all I got. Anything else from the Long Beach?
I think it's a good tournament recap. If we somehow missed you, we apologize. I
anyone?
can't imagine we missed
I think
anybody.
we got everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did well.
got
I'm super proud of everyone. Yeah.
When's the next open
What's
team
the next
open?
open? So we're doing April 6th in Barrington as a team. So I'm trying to get as many people to do that.
What is it? A new breed?
New Fuji.
Yeah.
Fuji BJJ.
Yeah.
So that's April 6th, Barrington. And the reason why is it's so close.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's,
awesome.
it's so rare. So if it ever comes that close, I'm going to try to bring everyone to it.
Yeah.
But this is an opportunity, you know, like we said, we almost have like tiers for it, like the competition team.
Local teams and travel teams.
Travel team. I mean, like, you know, if you're going to travel, you're committed. You know, financially, you're invested into this. So I don't think it's for everyone right away. Competing can be for almost everyone right away. But, you know, do a small local show. And if you find you like it a lot and you want to start traveling, you want to start getting more involved in, like, you know, the joy of making a vacation out of a trip, you know, we'll help you with that. But yeah, so that's the next big one. I don't know what the next open is. I know I heard Portland. I don't know if you guys heard that.
That's what Sergio was telling me. Yeah, I think in May.
Portland,
Yeah,
I think in May, April,
from now
May.
to March, we kind of don't have a lot of options.
There's not too much going on. Just the trials is the big one in Vegas for us. Hopefully you're there coaching. You'll be ready to
do the
go.
open.
Got
Yeah,
it. With a medal,
coaching, baby.
with a medal.
Yeah,
on.
we'll do the intermediate division after winning the trials in Croatia.
Yeah, definitely. We'll
Yeah,
make
you
it
got to
down.
wear your medal if you're coaching.
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
Well, good luck in Croatia.
I appreciate
Yeah,
you.
Thanks
man.
for doing the
Appreciate
podcast.
Appreciate
Super
you guys for
interesting,
having
man.
me on.
Yeah,
Appreciate
super
you guys.
interesting.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
For
all
the
the rolls
training.
on Sunday and everything.
Appreciate the relationship and friendship we developed this year, man.
Let's
It's
keep it going.
Yeah,
It's just a start.
absolutely.
Uh,
It is just a start.
Yep.
I learn a lot from you, man. Every time I train with you, every time we roll together, I get a lot out of it, and I know everyone else does. So I'm grateful every time you pop your head in. You know, 6 a.m.s, you come in
Yeah,
every
for
once in a
sure.
while. Night, you're always welcome. Whenever you want to hang out,
I
man.
appreciate it, man. I
Come
really
train.
do.
You man. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. This was episode 22 of the Keep It Rolling podcast. We were rolling on Sunday, and we're just going to keep it rolling for the rest of the day. Thank you for joining us.